Creative conversation on comics. That's what you're going to get in about 2 minutes. Stay tuned for Comic Book Spectrum. It's coming up now. There it is.
10 seconds.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!
Welcome to Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Get ready to explore the world of comics, past, present, and future, with our panelists Eric Hawkins, Brian Rodman, and Clyde Hall. And now here's your host, Brian K. Morris.
And good evening, everyone. How the heck are you? Welcome to the March 31st, 2022 edition of Comic Book Spectrum. If you're watching live, we're glad you're here. And if you're watching us on the reruns, we appreciate you too. Please leave us a comment when you get a chance, all right? But we are going to have comic book news and reviews and all kinds of stuff going on, plus your comments and some stuff we think you ought to be aware of, like a couple of really cool Kickstarters from some people you know. And what we're going to do first before we get to that is we're going to thank some people. This broadcast is sponsored by the Rising Tide Publishing Company, of which I have an intimate knowledge of, and also by Plasma Fire Graphics. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. A great book is like a football team. You've got your great players, but there's always that one scrub. And if that scrub is your cover, you're in trouble. You want a great cover to show everyone what an awesome book you have, because that's what's going to draw them in. Well, Plasma Fire Graphics can help you with that and all the graphics you need to promote it on social media. So go to the Plasma Fire Graphics page on Facebook and then wander over to plasmafiregraphics.com. Check out more printed samples and then inquire with Jeffrey Hayes about his indie creator friendly pricing. You'll be amazed and pleased. Anyway, I'm working with him on some projects. You should too. He's incredibly talented, easy to work with. That's Plasma Fire Graphics when the look of your book matters to you, because it definitely matters to your readers. Pardon me. We are a part of the Rising Tide Broadcasting Network with fun and illumination 7 days a week. Now, following this show, we're going to have Stupid O'Clock with Joe Dog McKeel and friends talking geeky for a couple of hours, followed by Dan Hollofield's Last Man Standing. And it's also got geeky talk, great conversation. You can participate in that too. So tune into that later on tonight. Then tomorrow morning, we'll be back with Nevermind the Furthermore, the interactive conversation show where you are the star. And Drinking with the Davies returns tomorrow night with a beautiful beverage, I am sure, and followed by the Historical Fancy Guild with Nicholas Anthony Tockard, where you can learn to kill your friends safely. It's all kinds of the fun that we have here on the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. Please check out our Facebook page and give it a like if you would. Also, please check out our Patreon page where we just published another blog today. And that's what you get for $1 a month, just $1 a month. And we do a twice weekly blog. $5 a month will get you the blog and views of our works in progress and all kinds of advanced notices on stuff, up-to-date news. And so if you want that and to see your name on this card, check me out at www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. And now we are going to bring in the crew. It's not just me that does this, thank God. It is the one, actually the three and only Joe D. McFee, Clyde Hall, and Pro Slayer Eric S. Hawkins. Gentlemen, how the heck are you?
Wonderful.
That's what I hear.
Splendiferous.
And I'm going to move everybody to their correct positions. That was my bad. There we go. There we go. I don't want to upset the natural order of things here. So, and Brian Hawkins has company. So he, or not Brian. Yeah, Brian.
That'd be very difficult, Brian.
That'd be very difficult. I apologize for that. No, Brian Rodman. There's too many.
I can go get him if you'd like. He's over here on my shelf.
Why don't you? You do that thing. There's too many Brian. He looks funny. You're taking a drink out of him. Oh my God! You're a monster.
Oh, it's just like my was it my dad's funeral? Yeah, my dad's funeral. Where'd Joe go? When the preacher said how much my dad and my mom, were loved in the church and all this, and my dad loved Betty very much, and my mom's name was not Betty.
Ooh.
So it was fun to be able to laugh during the funeral.
That's true.
Everybody else was like, "What?" I'm like,
"Yeah, what? We didn't come here to learn that sort of thing." So yeah. So oops. Anyway, if that's the worst thing I do tonight, I'm gonna be all right. But anyway, yeah, and we'd like to say hello to Joe, but he apparently fled when I gave the wrong name. But anyway, we're hoping he'll come back. But as it is, we will carry on. And let's see.
And Brian Rodman has dinner company tonight. Will not be able to join us. He is healthy. True. He's not under attack by the mites and dust and pollen.
That's true.
As far as we know.
Yeah, it could be.
The company may have brought it with them. We don't know.
They might be disgusted with him, and they probably duct taped him to a chair, put him next to a window, and opened it up, probably, or fanning him. I suspect.
Are they in the pool then? Is it them?
I don't know. I didn't check this week. Gosh, I better check my tickets too. You never know. So anyway, tell you what, let's start. Let's go around the room here and introduce yourself to the lovely folks at home. And I know they're lovely because we turned on the thing that lets us see you. Put on your pants, Carl. Anyway, anyway, actually, that's a ruse. Anyway, let's start with Joe D. McFee, then Eric, then Clyde. Joe, tell everyone about you. You should know something about that.
Oh, no, something about what? About me?
About you, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just me. I'm just Joe D. McFee. I'm the president of CGC Studios, the creator of Amazonia, Primetime Saturday Night, and AWF. I'm no longer the substitute pinch hitter here. I'm kind of been more of a regular over the past couple of months here, and I'm just here trying to have some fun, especially after today, after having kind of like a midday work.
Yeah. Well, we'll try to cheer you up here, Joe. We'll do our best.
Yep.
Well, anyway, bringing the hilarity, and a lot is being placed on his shoulders right now, is the one, the only Eric S. Hawkins, the Pro Slayer himself.
Hey,
hi there.
I'm Eric S. Hawkins, and I don't have any of my comics with me right now because I put up my Moon Knight display.
Yes.
But I am the creator of the Zombieful World of Oz, which issue 4 goes live on Kickstarter April 8th at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. Go out there and sign up for it.
That's right.
But other than that, I'm on here every Thursday night. I'm on after this show, I go on another show and I draw for 2 hours on Thursday nights, and I'm typically online 6 hours straight for Thursday nights.
That's because you're awesome. That's the only reason. Thank you, Eric. And now here he is, Clyde Hall. Clyde, tell everyone about you.
I'm the scrub cover for Comic Book Spectrum. No. Yeah.
Football teams, if it's NFL, which we're NFL, there's no scrub on that team. The NFL is the elite of the elite. So I knew Brian didn't know much about football when he's with that analogy. So
is that the one where they do home runs?
No.
Good.
But to Eric's point, a scrub on an NFL team is a star on in any other league.
Yes.
Ah,
or
well,
the kicker.
to the
Yeah.
penalty box with you then, Brian, because
I get my mail there. What are you talking about?
I'm Clyde Hall, and I write stuff. Folks call me independent author or contributing writer at review sites like comicsbookcase.com and doomrocket.com, and for companies like Stormgate Press, and others call me unique, eccentric, crazy, mostly harmless. I prefer the term mentally hilarious. And I am proudly one small part of the Rising Tide Broadcast Network, where every Thursday evening I'm 1/5 of Comics Review Refreshment right here with these happy, zany few. They're mentally hilarious too at Comic Book Spectrum.
And I think we lost.
And back to you, Brian.
No. I'm sorry. I'm putting in links to promotions here.
Ooh.
What kind of promotions we got here, Brian?
Yeah.
Well, you're about to find out as soon as. Well, that's one that we can promote that all we want. And yes, thank you, Clyde. Our lovely model, Clyde here. Thank you, Vanna.
His claim is reality.
That's right. Yes.
Yes. If you must have a reality, choose Pulp Reality 1, 2, and 3 from Stormgate Press.
Thank you, Clyde.
Tell them Charles Milhouse sent you. Yeah.
That's right. And speaking of which, buy this book. It's got an not award-winning. We're not that optimistic, but no, it's an award-nominated story by my favorite writer right there. Well, I like Bobby Nash too. And also get this. We'll have this in Benton at the Benton SI Comic Con this weekend. But enough about those people. Let's talk about me. I'm Brian K. Morris, freelance writer, editor, independent publisher, award-winning playwright, award-nominated author, wow, and Facebook famous YouTuber and former mortician's assistant. And despite trying to keep all the plates in the air, I am privileged to be here with these wonderful gentlemen, and I'm so appreciative. Well, with these two gentlemen. He ducked out on us again. Wow. So anyway, I did want to say some. We have some things we want to talk about here. First of all, please support this Kickstarter campaign. Do you want to say a word about it, Joe?
It is for issue number 7 of the Amazonia series here. We're not going to launch right away, so you got some time, but we are doing this big pre-launch just to get our fan base up and get people aware that we're going to go full bore, starting with issue number 7. And the campaign is going to happen in May. So we're going to take pretty much all of, and everybody needs to stop bothering me at this point because I'm here. I'm live. Let me do my live stream. But nevertheless, it's going to happen in May. And we're looking for our biggest campaign ever, even though we're looking for just printing, which is like a meager $500. We're looking for a lot more. But, the thing is, this book is going to come out hook or by crook, either by my own pocket or not. So that's the cool thing about it. So we're just asking people to sign up, and the more that we get people signed up and everything, I believe we will get more bandwidth once we go live.
Definitely. Excellent. So everybody go to that site, and you're not going to be charged anything. All you're doing is you'll be notified when Joe goes live with the campaign, and then you give him a lot of money. So anyway, it's going to be worth it. Amazonia.
And trust me, it's like minimal cost for you. If you like your books digitally, it would be $3. If you just want the issue number 7 by itself, it is a total of $8 with $5 shipping. So
nice.
You can't beat that. And besides, we have catch-up tiers, retailer tier. You could get custom covers if you want me to show some custom covers that you could get directly from me, because when I do custom covers, I do it to order, and they're a one of one. Mm-hmm. But like I said, in this campaign, we limit it to 5. So you have to be one of the first 5 to do it. And we do it kind of economically at $200. That's a $200 tier, and you're guaranteed to get the full run of the books from 1 to 7, both physically and digitally, all the alternate covers plus the sketch cover.
Excellent. All right. Excellent, folks. So check out that link, and we'll flash it later during the show. But please go there. And like I said, you won't be charged for it. All it will do is notify you when the campaign does go live. So that's very valuable. So
and one more shout out here.
Okay.
Thank you, John Celestri. I read this one. Yeah, I read this one. I'm not sure if he got that one. That's the
I did. Yes.
That's the Ashcan where he breaks it down from like his post-it notes to actual page layout to panels to the final thing. I like how he did this, but I'm going to get to reading this because I enjoyed issue 1. So issue 2, I'm looking forward to.
Excellent.
Those boobs on the cover?
Yes.
Okay.
And a PP too.
Yeah. Pew
inside.
Pew. Yeah. A pew pew.
Is a pew pew. That's it. So. Yeah, so definitely. But check out this address here, and then we've got another one. This is for Brian Rodman, correct?
Yes, it is. This is for the nebulizer number 2.
Number 2. So that is launching soon too, and again,
late April.
And again, this is not asking for any money. It is just simply getting on his list, encouraging him to get going on this. And you can start now. Ask him every time you see him, where is nebulizer number 3?
Nag, nag, nag.
Exactly. That's the only way things get done around this place.
And so, he's lucky. He's lucky because I'm busy dealing with issue 7. He's lucky because you know how I am.
That's true. That's true.
Oh, let me tell you about Mike Miller. Where's Nebulizer number 3? I don't care about Mike Miller.
That's right.
Nebulizer number 3.
Oh, silence your blasphemous tongue around this place. Good God, he is worshipped like a man who like a god who walks the earth. And also, we have one more here that we're very proud of, and that is the Zombieful World of Oz number 4. Correct, Eric?
Correct. And just like Brian said, these are just the pre-launch page. Let us know what kind of audience might be interested in the book. It helps us gauge the interest in the book, and it might even help Kickstarter know who's interested in the book. I don't know if they look at it or not. Who knows? Right now we have 83 people signed up, so that's good. We launch in a week and a day.
That's fantastic. That is so cool.
Now, last year I did have, I think at this point, 135 people signed up, so it's a little low, but I'm not worried yet. And I have levels from $5 to $200. So
hey, that's far better than my best at anything dealing with this crowdfunding. I think the last time we barely crossed like the 30 mark.
Well,
and hey, you can watch Joe's channel to see how to set up your Kickstarter page. He did a live.
That was really great. Good work.
And Brian is too modest to mention it, but a book that he and I have some materials coming out in, some stories. Yes. Major Marjorie has a big cover reveal tomorrow from Stormgate Press. So
that's true.
Tune in and see what that's going to look like, because we worked pretty hard on that at the end of last year and early this year for it. So I'm anxious to see what we have wrought here.
I am too. I did see a mock-up of the cover a couple of months ago, and it is beautifully retro.
Cool.
It is wonderful. For those of you who don't know, Major Marjorie is the creation of Tim Bruckner, I believe it is, who will have, of course, a story in there, along with Clyde and myself, Charles F. Millhouse, and Alessia Kent, a new talent. And I think that's everybody.
I think so. And it's a very new pulp flavor.
Yeah.
It's nostalgic, but it also has that new pulp, I think, sensibility from, at least I tried that for my story, and I got the feeling that was going to be where it went. So very much pulp reality. If you like pulp reality, I think you'll probably like these too.
Yeah, the concept is it's the early 1940s, and Marjorie Pettis is one of the superstars of radio at the time with her science fiction show Major Marjorie, where she plays a defender of the Earth from alien invasion. But what people don't know is they're based on her real life exploits.
Dun dun dun.
Mhm. I had a lot of fun writing my story in there, and
Me too. Me too.
I'm super stoked for this book. And like Clyde said, tomorrow on author Charles F. Millhouse Presents page, he will have the cover reveal. So please check that out. It will be available very, very soon from Stormgate Press, and they've got a whole bunch of stuff coming up in the upcoming months that are going to be really thrilling to see. So definitely check that out. Thank you for remembering that, Clyde. I appreciate that. So with that, we've delayed long enough. Let's try and get through the comments. May God have mercy on our souls. Anyway,
Hey, I told you can't read comments unless they sign up for all 3 of those Kickstarters.
Right.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, let's wait. Do, 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 do.
Yeah, well,
Do, do, do,
we'll
do,
give them a chance. We'll give them a teaser. Yeah, it's like,
Right.
yeah. Oh, that's pretty. That's pretty.
Look at that.
This, since they've announced the series, has jumped up to one of my most expensive Funko Pops.
Wow.
Really?
Wow.
Oh man, that's cool. That is very cool. We'll tell you what. We'll start here with a few, but get to those Kickstarter addresses. We will be flashing them later. We'll flash different ones on the screen while the guys are talking about their books. Madonna Carleen goes 90 minutes, gets out her lemon drop moonshine. Oh, there we go.
You know,
Yeah.
that's examples of what you could be getting from the $200 tier.
Mm.
Ooh la la.
Something like custom covers like this. You know, I do
Nice.
like a lot of the cosplay covers. This one is a unique one because this is off of the 10th anniversary #1.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, you get your choice between the 10th anniversary #1 sketch cover or the soon to be defunct and almost out of print #4. So I still have blank covers of both issues here.
There you go. So get in there early when this thing launches. Those are nice, Joe. Good work.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this type of thing for quite some time here.
It shows. That's great.
I mean, it's like, you know, cosplay covers like this one. It's like
yeah.
from like my character cosplaying Big Barter from the DC Bombshell.
Oh yeah.
So
I love that book. That was great. So anyway, Carl Witzman says, Sleeping Callie, that's his cat, has me trapped, can barely type, let alone reach the liquor.
Wow.
That poor cat. Something's going to give, and it's probably that cat. Finally, he got up, and I got some rum. Good for you, Carl. We can stop worrying now. And Ted Davies Artistry, good evening, superheroes. Ted, hope you're having a great night so far. And don't forget, tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern will be the return of Drinking with the Davies. And everyone's saying hello to each other. Good to have you back. I agree. And I wonder if we'll have a full CBS team this time. Well, yes, we are full. We just had dinner. Anyway, Carl lights up a cigarette and is hitting the rum. Celebrating my proof copy of new book, already working on the next one, says Carl Witzman. Yay, a sequel to the Mad Gasser Cheerleader of Calhoun County. Yay, with a beautiful cover by Eric Hawkins. You did know that, right, Eric?
Hmm?
Okay, good. I want to make sure.
What?
You
like,
walked.
that's news to me.
What?
That's news to me. When did that happen?
Well, it's like somebody at the water company, a little side here, he didn't realize that he was fired until he was at his computer checking the daily email, and he saw his job listing up there.
Ooh.
Yeah. Awkward. Anyway, yes, Carl, it looks great. And Carl Wisman said, I just sent the Eric Hawkins a little more money since I used his cover twice.
And he didn't have to do that. I mean, I provided him, I think originally it was like 4 files. It was all the same thing, but each had a different color overlay to it. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah,
3 or 4.
He showed me a proof of or he showed me a copy of the new one, and it looks gorgeous in the different colors too. You did a
Thank
great
you
job.
very much, Carl. I appreciate it.
No problem. I'm glad to, and I'll have Donna come in and verify what I've just said. Anyway, Carl Winston, now you can get a few cigars too, and cool bingo, says Donna. And rising tide and brings all cigars. That's right. A rising tide raises your ship and brings you cigars.
Cigars
That's right.
from Cuba.
No, not yet, but give it time. And John B. Pica, johnpica.com. Check out Night Rike, available now on Amazon. I'm actually able to watch tonight. Well, we're glad you're here, John. Check out the Cereal Box Network on YouTube and sign up for that because they do great content. Phil Thompson, pleasure to have you here. Hope your night's going well. And I hope one of you is planning to review Godzilla versus the Power Ranger because it was outstanding. Best book out this week. I would have John, except I looked at the writer's name.
No.
Was it Colin Bunn?
Yeah. Yes, it was.
In the immortal words of Admiral Akbar, it's a trap!
So, sorry, Eric, you talked me out of it.
Yeah, I ran across 2 Colin Bunn books today that are autographed by him. Don't know where those came from.
I can only vouch for one of them. Anyway, and Carl Wisman says, please don't forget to like. Thank you, Carl. If you're watching a show and you've enjoyed anything you've seen so far or plan to in the future, hit that like button on Facebook or love. We can always use the love. And if you're watching us on Facebook, hit that thumbs up and please subscribe so you don't miss any more content. And Lissy is here. Hey, everyone. Lissy, how you doing, sweetie? Mwah! Everyone's saying hi. And Carl Wisman, you didn't have to do that, but thank you. And that was good of Carl. And Donna Carly says, like and share. Thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And it's all cool. Enjoy a cigar or two on me. And hey guys, I saw that smile on Eric's face. He's like, yep, reading my mind. And Carl Wisman says, I heard some coughing before the show started, so I thought you already got rid of Rodman. That was our musical tribute to Rodman. So but anyway, Joe Bachman is here. Glad to have you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. And Ryan Permisson says, hello, CBS crew. How are you? We are great. Hope you can say the same. And hey, and everyone's saying hello. And here we go. We've got a question from Ryan. We'll come back to question favorite comic covers and why. That's a great question. We'll come back to that. And Professor Clyde, who is your next B-List Boosters episode? Sign me up.
Well, I came across some graphics that I had stashed away just today for some future ones of the B-List boosters. So you never know. Could be coming.
That's good. That sounds like fun. Okay. I always enjoy those. And Jennifer Hawkins says, I have to tune in here to see my husband on Thursdays. Hello, everyone.
I rarely come out of my office on Thursdays.
You're a busy man. You're in demand. See, Jennifer, if you would get a camera in your house, your living room, maybe Eric could broadcast with you live on the air. Then you'd see him, right? See, I'm good with other people's problems. And then, like Eric hasn't had enough time on the air. Anyway, hello, everyone.
I was thinking something completely different. I was thinking Eric got used to Jennifer fussing at the television or the monitor screen. It leaves him alone at times.
Well, I tell you, it does help since she does watch the show. If I get up and get some coffee or something, wander around while someone's doing a review, I can hear the review while I'm up wandering around. And I need to get back to my desk.
Good deal. See, good planning there. And don't forget that Kickstarter for Amazonia 1-7 by Joe D. McFee and Ryan Permisson. How was Lexington Rodman? Is that what they're calling him now?
He didn't make it out.
Sorry. But the beard did make an escape, Snake Plissken style. So we'll be interviewing the beard later. And don't forget the pre-launch on Mighthead for Brian Rodman and the next issue of the Nebulizer, last year's great big hit. And hello, Jennifer from Carl. And also don't forget the pre-launch for the Zombieful World of Oz. Told you we'd be showing these things again. And don't
forget about them.
You got to get these. Seriously, there's some good comics being bandied about here. I'm gonna be supporting each and every one of them. And hi, Mom, says Lissy. Now Lissy gets to see her mom on here too, but they're just communicating through messages. And John Celestri, good to see you, sir. Good evening, gentlemen. Want nothing from me? Anyway, John Celestri, we will be mentioning your name once or twice during this episode. And Jennifer says hello, Nissy, Nora, and Fee, and hello, and Joe Dunn. And do I get a daughter discount on Zombieful?
I'll tell you what, my local comic shop, Heroes Heroic Adventure in Edwardsville,
Forgetting names all over the place tonight,
they're
aren't
having
we?
their annual bazaar this weekend where people
Oh.
get bring in stuff to for them to sell. You price it and whatever
Ooh.
they sell, you get 100% of what it's sold for, but as store credit.
Oh, nice.
So they haven't had it in 2 years. It's the first one in 2 years. So I saw the message this week, so I took a tote of stuff up there. Took some pops, some old action figures that were still in boxes and all that. And I brought them 4 sets of the Zombie World of Oz, 1 through 3. And this is a heck of a bargain because I priced everything in that tote at $5. So you can get all 3 issues for $5 if you want to go to Edwardsville this weekend and have never bought the books. Because I want some store credit.
That's right. If I weren't going, I'd go over there myself and buy some. So anyway,
those 3 books would cost me more than $5. The gas alone would be like, yeah, I might wait and just get it through the Kickstarter.
Yeah, the way gas is right now, that's for sure. I paid, actually, we found a local, I shouldn't say local, it was 40 miles away, but we happened to be in that town, $3.96. Needless to say, there was a bit of a line to get in. So,
I was also smart enough to slip a little piece of paper in the backside of one with a link to the pre-launch page of 4.
Smart man. Excellent. Good thinking. And hey, yo, from Pops fans, and Pops, good to see you, sir.
And
check out the
catch him Saturday on my show.
Oh,
we're going to be talking about Enter the Cromniverse.
Oh, that's exciting. That's the brand new book that Pops is kind of in charge of, right?
Yeah, on Indiegogo.
Yeah.
On Indiegogo as of right now. It's live. It was live as of Friday of this week.
Oh, nice. I got to check that out. Pops, feel free to put a link to the campaign in. We'd love to have you do that.
Facebook.
Did he? Okay, excellent. We'll put that on the screen when we get to it. Anyway, check out Comics Talk with Pops Van Zandt. He's coming off a triumphant weekend of CromCon over the last weekend. Great as always. And Pops, is great to have you here. It's also great to have Cindy Kemp, CKOEPP.com. Check her out for an amazing newsletter and a beautiful website. And flops in the chair and back and waves. Hi, Cindy. Good to see you here. And Grant Lankard, good to see you, sir. Beowulf, let's see, number 3, I believe, just got funded, and he's hopefully hard at work on that. And everyone's saying hello to each other. And darn, I thought Joe D was talking about moonshine being something you could get. We're not at HalloCon yet, okay?
I don't know if Kickstarter would allow that.
I don't think y'all need to come down to HalloCon in Dalton, Georgia. Donna and Carl and Michaela and I and the crew from Stupid O'Clock were all there.
I try not to go cons more than 5 hours away.
I'd love to have a con that's only 5 hours away, but anyway, but no, this is let's just say we were that wimpy moonshine you can get in the stores. We got the real thing. It's a wonder Donna and I could see the next day. It was pretty potent, but it was good. So anyway, Grant Lankard says, I wish I could show off my web acquisitions. I got some signed comics. Please post pictures on the Facebook page. I love signed comics. And the Cromniverse anthology launched last week. Excellent. Hello, and hail Frog G, the man with the links. We are so glad to see you, sir. Good to see you, my man. And my stepdaughter says Grant Lankard had her birthday party today, so a bunch of teenage girls were running around my house. Whoa. So isn't it nice to have somebody grown up you could talk to like these other 3? Anyway, everyone's saying hello to Frog. Frog saying hello back, and enter if you dare. Enter the Cromniverse is a great anthology from some of indie comics but greatest talents. So please check that out. And hashtag always be promoting. Carl Witzman, you got that right. And Cindy is producing Croms for the campaign. That is awesome. My Amakarumi, unfortunately, is across the room, but otherwise she does great work. You seriously, whoever pledges for those, you got a real treat coming. You really do. And everyone, and wow, Grant, we're glad you survived. Everyone's saying hello. And Pop says, looking forward to hanging out with you Saturday night, Joe. Hi, Cindy. 4 crochet Croms are gone already.
Wow.
Nice. Very cool. And he'll be at Grand Rapids Comic-Con April 9th just hanging out. And Donna didn't have no trouble with the real stuff moonshine. That's true. You were, I was taking it in far more measured amounts than you were.
So you're calling Donna a sissy?
No, it was the opposite.
I'm the sis.
I think he's saying she wasn't drinking as much as him.
No. I said
no. He meant the
Donna
opposite.
I was not
All
drinking
right.
as much as Donna. She was a little more.
She was up under a bet, and let's just say a certain person was angry after they lost or allegedly lost.
Yeah.
Well, was she doing the Marion scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark with the?
Not quite. It was like
Brian was.
No, Brian was there with pinky extended, sipping like it was like high tea or something. Donna was chugging, and I mean chugging, in front of a whole audience full of people, and we're like, "Oh, that woman's going to die in the next couple minutes. I just know it. Alcohol toxemia is going to rear its ugly head." And so anyway, wow, I better get stitching. Yeah, Cindy, you can do it while you listen to the show. And Mooney hid under the bed where all of the girls were here. You probably should have joined him. Mm-hmm. And poor Mooney Grant got hid under there too. Yeah, see? So we are now caught up with the comments. And so that leaves us with time to do some reviews, guys. What do you say?
Yeah, we're back to.
Yes, let's give Joe the full screen here. Now, I noticed that your pile is significantly thinner than it was last week.
Right, because like I said, I'm going to retire some and just be like, look, since there's no interest here on this channel, I might end up doing it on mine. So if you was looking forward to something that's not in this stack this week and it was in last week's, just be prepared to see it on my channel sometime soon.
There you go.
So number one, we got War for Earth 3 number 1. We're bringing this back because issue 2 came out this week, and we'll have it in my hands by next week because I'm waiting for the U.S. mail again. But this is issue number 1, and that would be voting for number 1. Number 2 will be Lady Mechanica and the Monsters of Ministry of Hell number 3. That would be number 2.
That title's just way too long.
Yeah, it is. And then what I consider the crowd favorite, not necessarily one of mine, but it's the crowd favorite. We got Carriers number 3, and Carriers number 4 came out this week, and I'm still waiting for that in the U.S. mail. And then we got Ant number 3, and too bad a certain person is not here because he's still working on the Alvy suit for issue number 3 of the Nebulizer because he has his boy Spawn right there in this issue. So that's number 4 and number 5, and this one might get retired at the end of this week if it doesn't get picked this week. This is number 5, which is She-Hulk number 2.
Okay.
So once again, number 1, War for Earth 3. Number 2, Lady Mechanica. Number 3, Carriers number 3. Number 4, Ant number 3. And number 5, She-Hulk number 2.
All right. The polls are open right now. And so be sure to type your choice in the comments. We'll let Eric start the proceedings here, and then when he is done, we'll tally up the votes. You can vote until then. We are going to hold off on commenting on the what's being voted on now. Give everyone a chance to do, but we do have this comment here. Someone forgot Aunt Donna has Viking genes. That's true. She was she was doing.
Brian
the
only
crap.
has blue jeans.
Brian has Swedish blood. You know, it is thinner than my excuses. Anyway, we've got the votes coming in, but we will have a final tally once we are done marveling or even DCing at Eric's latest review. Eric, take it away, sir.
So I have no comic to show this week because I'm not going to review a comic book. I am going to review a TV show because I kind of like Moon Knight. And Moon Knight premiere this week. Yes. As you can see,
that's the reason why the books are back there.
Yeah, that's why there's so many Moon Knights back here. Like a reprint of the first appearance back there from 1975 in Werewolf by Night 32. We have the first issue of his ongoing series from 1980 that went 38 issues, I do believe. And this is that one. I picked up the complete series about 3 or 4 years ago. A friend found it and sold it to me very cheap. And this one is one of my favorites because this is one of the first comics I ever picked up in the store.
Nice.
So this was the second volume that came out, I think, in 85 or 86. And I just always loved that cover, and I've kept that comic all these years.
Wait, that was the Fist of Khonshu one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. But of course, and I think this will get washed out again if I try to show it. But I did 3D print. Yeah, it just gets washed out so bad.
Hold it
right there.
Right there. It's not bad.
Yeah, so it's a 3D printed Mr. Knight with Moon Knight in his blue his suit, his white suit, which I had to do some blue highlights so it just didn't look too plain.
Beautiful.
And then I got my action figure there, and some Peter Parkers he showed up in back in the day, which I'm not sure what year, but these were only 35 cents, so had to be a long time ago. But a little bit of history about Moon Knight. Of course, he showed up in Werewolf by Night in 1975. Then he didn't have his ongoing series in 1980, and right now they're on the 9th series of Moon Knight books because he goes through a year or two, gets canceled, and they keep coming back out every few years. So the current run is very good. I really like it quite a bit. Moon Knight didn't. He started out with having like 3 secret identities. He had Stephen Grant, which is a billionaire playboy. He had Jake Lockley, who was a taxi cab driver, and Mark Spector, who was the mercenary who was Moon Knight. But in later years, the writers evolved that into a dissociative identity disorder. So he just has multiple personalities now, which is how the show is going. It's going to use the multiple personality disorder, but it only looks like right now they're only going to be using 2 of those, and that's the Mark Spector and the Stephen Grant. But they are not going with the Stephen Grant billionaire. They're going with the Stephen Grant gift shop worker in the History Museum in London. He was kind of a bumbling fool. So on Disney Plus, the series launched yesterday with Oscar Isaac playing Moon Knight, Ethan Hawke playing what was his name? I wrote it down. Arthur Harrow, which was, I believe he was only actually in, if that's the character he really is playing, he was only in 1 issue of the comic book, if I remember correctly. He was just kind of a throwaway character. But Ethan Hawke's character is kind of like a cult leader. He describes it himself as a David Koresh type figure. But of course, he worships a Egyptian god. And that's one of the weird things about Moon Knight. Khonshu is the moon god in Marvel. In actually Egyptian mythology, it's Khonshu. There's no H. It's Khonshu. But someone either made an editing mistake years ago and nobody ever corrected it or whatever. I have never seen a reason why they did that, so I'm assuming they just didn't know. So if that's going to bother you, don't watch the show. Because they do call him Khonshu during the show. And you actually get to see Khonshu, which is the moon god, which is very cool. But the series starts off with Ethan Hawke's character doing something really creepy. It's just weird. Basically, he takes a drink of water. And he's having like this little ritual with himself. He pours a cup over, covers it with glass, and smashes it. Then he puts all the shards in his sandals. Then walks off. That's how the show starts. But Mark Spector, Oscar Isaac, does a tremendous job playing Stephen Grant and Mark Spector. His English accent is spot on. The dialogue, everything, it's perfect. It is so good. And even his posturing is different as a character. When you do get to see a little bit of Mark Spector, but not a whole lot in this episode. But it's totally different. It's you could compare it to how some artists draw Clark Kent and Superman. One's upright and strong, and the other one's kind of slouching. Well, you get introduced to Stephen Grant. He ties himself to the bed every night because he thinks he sleepwalks. He's got a little ankle belt he ties to the bedpost. He surrounds his bed with sand and puts tape on the door to make sure he doesn't go out. And if he does, he'll know he got out. The sand is to see if his footprints if he got up and went around because he's afraid he's sleepwalking. He doesn't know maybe another personality's taking over at night and just steps over the sand, unbuckles the little belt around his ankle, takes the tape off, and walks out the door. And then puts it all back on and gets in bed when he's ready to go sleep. So he wakes up, you see all this stuff. He's got a one-finned goldfish. He's kind of a loser. He talks to his mom a lot on the phone, or at least gets her voicemail. Then he goes to work at the museum where he's not very liked by his boss, Donna, who's I won't say what kind of word she is here, but she is not very nice at all. and Stephen Grant finds out he has a date. He didn't even know he made a date. He's going to go on a date with this girl he didn't even know about because he didn't make the date. But it goes through that. He falls asleep next night, and next morning he wakes up in a field. So when this happens in the show, you don't see what transpires when Mark Spector Moon Knight takes over his body. You get Stephen Grant being confused. Well, you wake up in a field in Bavaria. I mean, you're going to be confused. And people start shooting at him. He takes off running to a little village. It's at this point you get to actually hear Khonshu speak to him and call him a worm and says, let Mark take back over. And it just confuses the heck out of Stephen. Great, the idiot's in charge again. And I never imagined a voice for Khonshu in my head, but this one is really cool. I know the actor by his face. I couldn't tell you his name.
F. Murray Abraham.
Thank you.
Ooh, nice.
But the voice, I like it. I really do. It just the little quips he gives at Stephen. I keep wanting to say Mark, which is really cool. And this time, this is when Stephen first meets Ethan Hawke's character too. And apparently, Stephen stole a scarab while he was sleepwalking, or was Moon Knight, or was just Mark Spector. You don't know what he was when all this happened. And Ethan Hawke's character wants that scarab back. And he tries to give it to him, but he can't because his body won't let him. It's like, I'm trying. Then there's he gets in a cupcake van, and there's this chase down the Swiss Alps and the hills going to, and they're playing Wake Me Up Before You Go by Wham. Which through the whole chase, Stephen goes in and out of consciousness, and Mark takes over in certain points, and Stephen keeps waking up, and people are beating up, cars are wrecking. He doesn't know what's going on. Well, he finally wakes up again, and he wakes up in his bed, so he figures it's all a dream. So he remembers he has a date. He goes to the restaurant. I'm skipping where his fish got replaced because he doesn't know how that happened either. All of a sudden, his goldfish had two fins. And he's like, what the? and wants to argue with the pet shop owner. And she goes, you were looking for a one-fin fish yesterday. He goes, I wasn't in here yesterday. He goes, if you find a handicapped fish store, let me know. So then he's like, oh, it's late. I just woke up. Is that the right time? So he takes off to his date. He's at this restaurant, which Stephen Grant's a vegan. But apparently when Mark made the date with this girl, he told her he'd take her to a steak restaurant. Well, he's sitting there most of the night. He calls the girl, and she's pretty mad because it's Sunday, not Friday. And he thought it was Friday. So he's missed 2 days.
Ooh.
And this is probably the most disheartening part of the episode when he orders a steak. He doesn't know what kind of steak to order because he's a vegan. He just wants the best bit. So he's going to give him, the waiter says, I'll get you a filet. How would you like that cooked? Very good, very good. I mean, he doesn't know how to order a steak. So the waiter, being a complete jerk, is going to bring it to him well done. And that's just not how you eat steak. I'm sorry. Other than that, he goes back to work, finds out he's not dreaming, because Ethan Hawke's characters come to talk to him. Ethan Hawke's character can judge people, or uses the power of Emmet, the crocodile goddess, to judge people, whether they're going to be good or bad in the future or in their past, and grants them life or kills them right away. But he can't get a reading on Mark. It just the scales won't balance. Which Emmet is not the god that uses the scales in actual Egyptian mythology.
Right.
Yeah. See, Clyde knows there were some discrepancies going on.
They played fast and loose, but I mean, overall,
yeah.
I love the effect of judging people the way they did it. Wasn't that cool?
There's a tattoo on his arm, and it's got the two little crocodile heads. They go up and down, and then they either turn green or red. And when he tries to gauge Steven, they just won't balance. So he wants to scare it back still. So he waits till later in that night to trap Steven in the museum to get his scarab back by releasing a oh crap, what are they called? Help me out, Clyde.
The Hound of Anubis.
Anubis, yes.
Mm-hmm.
The jackals.
Yeah,
a jackal after him. So and this is probably one of the best parts of the show, and I think the cinematography is great because Steven is hiding in the bathroom from this, and Mark is in the mirror and tells him to let him take over. He can save them, and Steven just thinks he's crazy, and it's the bathroom is surrounded by mirrors. You see infinite numbers of mirrors going reflections going out in the distance, but you only see Mark talking, and the other ones are mimicking Steven, of course. And the episode ends shortly after that. But I think that, and I won't spoil how it ends, but it ended exactly the way it should have. I think it was amazing. As a longtime Moon Knight fan, I thought it was great. There was nothing I can complain about it other than things Marvel had done in the past, like Khonshu's name being wrong. But other than that,
details.
The show I had anticipated since they announced it. It had such hype, lived up to the hype I wanted it to have, and I thought it was great. I am giving it a 10 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That speaks volumes.
Yeah.
Now, I do have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that they handle the multiple personalities better than what they did with Typhoid Mary and Iron Fist?
I've watched that, but I can't remember it. I liked Iron Fist where a lot of people didn't, but I don't remember much about it anymore.
Because Typhoid Mary was in the last season of Iron Fist, and they dealt with her multiple personalities, and there was certain triggers.
This one didn't seem to be any triggers. It's I think it's when he gets tired, falls asleep, or Mark just forces himself to take over.
It seems like, and this is a point of contention I saw in some reviews of it. They were like, why does he have to, like, when there's this near the end scene where things are getting like a horror movie, why does he have to negotiate with Steven? He just takes over. Why the change? But it seems like over time, Steven is resisting him because he says something like, I can't fight this and you at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like he's developing he's coming up with like mental defenses to,
he's becoming the alpha personality over Mark.
Perhaps. And I got that feeling from it, and I wasn't confused by it at all, but I thought, and he's having a blast. Oscar Isaac's having a blast doing the different personalities. Yeah. They are very different from what just a little bit we've seen so far of Mark.
And we don't know if there's going to be a third.
Right.
They might show the third because they do have.
Yeah.
Mr. Knight will be one of the characters from the trailer, so I'm wondering if Jake Lockley will be one of the other personalities, or if maybe Steven will become that one. I don't know yet. I'm interested to see where they go with that.
Because the reason I asked that question because they brought that up dealing with Typhoid Mary about who was the real dominant personality, and a lot of times Mary and I forgot the other one. They called the other personality by a different name, like Shadow or Stalker or whatever her name was. They knew about one another, but only Stalker knew about Typhoid. Because again, Typhoid only came out when both are under great duress. Because she was the only one that knows about Mary's history within the military, at least according to the Iron Fist show, and what actually happened to her and why it was a bloodbath. And when they found her in that state that she did.
Yeah. Now I'd say probably I think Split did it very well. Because all the personalities knew each other in that one.
Yeah.
And depending who held the light, it was who got to be in the spotlight. Yeah.
Now you're making me think about Doom Patrol.
Yeah. I was when you were mentioning Typhoid Mary, I was like, or Doom Patrol, because that's a really involved. How many personalities?
Yeah.
Jane, yeah.
Killer Jane.
Crazy
Oh my
Jane,
gosh. Yeah. But
and also,
Walker. Thank you, John Walker.
Yes,
I was
Mary
watching John's
and
comments
Walker.
over here, and hey, John, I left out a lot of the Easter eggs from the show.
Yes. See, and Typhoid Mary was supposed to be Moon Knight originally, and he loved Moon Knight too, even though he was busting Eric's chops, saying Eric broke down the whole show. Now I don't need to watch it myself.
I left out quite a bit.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. And thank you, Eric. That was awesome.
I recommend it. If anyone's not watched it yet, go watch it. It's
I haven't watched it yet. I just haven't had time to.
Yeah, it's really good.
I was hoping it sucked because I wanted to see you pick up your TV and fling it across the room.
That's a 65-inch TV. It's kind of heavy.
You have Jennifer help you.
Yeah, you got a family there.
Actually, I'm the only one home right now. She's watching this over at a friend's house.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Jennifer. And you really made a commitment here. I appreciate that.
Nah, she's probably tuned out by now.
No, we're up by now, so she's come back. Anyway, John B. Pike, I'm telling you, Godzilla versus Power Rangers BKM. Have I ever steered you wrong? No,
I gotta see if my comic book. By the way, this is my Colossus comic book shop, the local comic book shop. I gotta go see if they've got that, John, because you have convinced me. I need to try to pick it up and look it over.
It's Colin Bond.
Missed it. I don't care. I give anybody a shot.
I've given him too many shots.
Yeah, mostly on this show. But no, I'm prepared to read that. And thanks to Eric, I know how to appreciate it. See, what is it, colinbund.com? If I want to know what's going on in the book, okay.
Whoever prints the book, just go to their website. It'll give you the synopsis, and you'll know what's going on then.
There we go. Well,
maybe he had an editor this time that keeps him on track, and he actually tells a story.
I swear, if I ever see him in a con, I'm going to walk up and slap him.
Make sure you film it. Make sure you film it, because I want to see it.
Keep my comic out of your typewriter. Anyway, so everybody cringes. But anyway, Cindy kept it very festive, referring to Eric's shelving back there. And Raging 2 Broadcast Network, mwah! Nita, glad you're here, hon. Hey, nerds. Boy, she's got us figured out. Anyway, glad to have you here, Nita, as always. And I will be appearing, just real quick, I will be appearing on Raging 2 Monday morning at 11 a.m. Carl Wisman will be filling in for me on Nevermind the Furthermore. So I'll be ruining Nita's show while Carl is improving mine. So this all works out. Lissy says, Dad and Clyde tag team was something I didn't know we needed.
I know who to go to when I have a brain fart.
There we go. And Cindy Cap says Mary was creepy. And everyone says hello to Ragin and still saying hello. And let's see. And how's my sweetie tonight? Well, I'm fine. Thank you for asking, Donna. Anyway, everyone's saying hello. Hello, hello, hello. And maybe not after my show description. Oh. Now I'm nervous. Anyway, we'll see what happens. But anyway, please tune in to Rage at 11 o'clock. I'm looking forward to hanging out with Nita rather. And but now I was excited. I lost names for a second because I'm excited. The voting, you've still got a chance to vote.
Yes, because it's still tied. It's still tied.
Okay, well, we're going to go over
and not everybody voted as of yet.
Okay, so...
And no, I do not have a copy of Power Rangers versus Godzilla, nor will I be buying it.
Sorry,
besides, I have heard mixed opinions about it. And to kind of quell the fears of a Mr. Hawkins here, I have heard, and this is through reliable sources who read pretty much everything independent, that this is going to be the first Colin Bunn series that he actually writes something sustainable, because it turns out that he's a fan of Power Rangers and he knows his stuff.
See?
Yeah.
Well, if anyone would like to send any of us a copy of Godzilla versus Power Rangers or whatever, we'll be happy to review it online for you and possibly throw it or tear it up. Or like it even and put it back in the bag and put it on a shelf in a place of honor.
With the Moon Knight stuff?
No.
Oh.
Well, it could be one of the best comics we've read all year, or it could be written by Colin Bunn. So you never know what we're going to get here. Now, Carl Witzman has voted for number 5, which was Ant, was it?
Mm-mm.
What was it?
She-Hulk.
Oh, She-Hulk. That's right. Thank you. And Cindy votes for Carriers because she's a bird mom.
Well, with the last couple of votes that came in, the tie is broken, but
let's get our hearing challenged people a moment here.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have subtitles on this show occasionally. So anyway, we've got 5. We're going to make this official, and let's see. Here we go. And I will vote if I have to. And let's see. Everyone say hello. And Eric Hawkins, we like him. He's voted for number 5. And wait a minute, Colin Bunn's indie stuff is fantastic. I can't speak for any of his mainstream work, but Harrow County, Shadow Man, Parasomnia, they've all been phenomenal. You need to watch this show more often, John, because Eric found, like the other things that Colin has written, like a magnet finds lodestones, like pigs find truffles. You know what I'm saying? And Ted Davies' artistry has voted for number 5.
The last book I'll ever read was quite literal.
Yes, true. And Raging will get all the viewers after they find out that I'm doing Nevermind the Furthermore, says Carl Witzman. No, Carl, you'll probably give me Dan Doherty level viewership because they'll know I'm out of town and I'm playing with the other kids across town. Donna says you'll have to do without me, Carl. I'll be out to breakfast. Well, sorry, Donna. Okay, now I'm going to cast my vote.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1. Okay, I'm glad I could do that. Democracy rules. So, Clyde, do you have a vote?
Was number 1 the Earth 3 story?
Yes.
I'll vote for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I read the second half of the mainstream titles of it, and it had a really good wrap up. I just missed some of the build up. So
yeah. So, but anyway, Joe, I would say, wow, nice how they all run away. That's what happens, Carl. Sorry. So, Joe, who is the winner?
Well, it's time to break out the big screen here.
Okay, I'm ready. You got the big screen, buddy.
Now, tonight's winner, I am so happy that you picked, because being a big fan of this particular character, I, have an appreciation for it. It's so much of appreciation that I actually recently went out and got an actual 9.2 copy of the
Nice.
here.
Beautiful.
Now, this is not taking consideration of the 5.5 where I have David Anthony Kraft's signature on it. plus
yes.
several other issues with that I also have slabbed. So yes, tonight's winner is the brand new version of She-Hulk #2. Now, I think Rainbow Royale is the person who wrote this issue, and it's getting very, very interesting nonetheless here. So, yeah, I was right. Rainbow Royale is the writer. Rogue Antonio is the artist. Rico Renzi did the colors, and Joe Carmanaga is the letterer. And this is a Jim Bartel cover. Seems fitting. So pretty much, if you haven't watched the review of issue #1 that I did here, go back and watch it because it takes right off at the very end of that issue here. Long story short, Jen finally gets her life back together, and finally going back into law, got her gig and everything. Janet Van Dyke, aka the Wasp, gave her a place to stay and everything. First night at the new place, lo and behold, Jacker Hearts crashes in. Well, I shouldn't say crash, but just somehow morphs or transports directly into the apartment. So this issue starts off where that left off, where he's kind of like in this sequence here, and he's up here thinking about the last time that he actually saw Jennifer, and that was, way back when they was in space. She had the helmet and everything on, and he actually siphoned some of her gamma radiation and everything to make certain that she survives. Now, fast forward to when he shows up now into the apartment and everything, and he's up here like completely confused. It's like, I don't know. He's like, I don't know why I'm here. I'm going to be okay, but it's best for you not to touch me, because he kind of felt that if she tries to touch him, the same thing is going to happen. He's probably going to end up siphoning gamma radiation off of her. So, he pretty much saying it's like, no, I don't need, anything. I don't need to heal. That, I'm pretty much invulnerable. It's just like I self-healing, this, that, and the other. And then he kind of flops down and everything. And he's up here. It's like, here, you need some water or something like that. It's like, no, I don't need no sustenance and everything. I'm a cosmic power being. I'm going to be okay. And, they start, she's up here trying to figure out why is he there and this, that, and the other. And he couldn't figure out why, what actually happened to him, why he is, hurt and everything. How come he's not healing, real fast and everything like that. And then, he's reflecting back about all the mistakes that he made in the past when he was on Earth with the Avengers. And he constantly was thinking back to what he did to her way back when. And as they were talking and everything, he's up here, thinking about how he went back out into space and, feeling like a failure and whatnot. And he kind of goes back and was thinking about how he got captured and how he finally broke out of wherever he was at. And he came back. He came back to Earth, that was the first thing that was on his mind. So as they were talking and everything, it's like, you sure everything is okay? Yada, yada, yada. It's like, and then eventually Jennifer asks, it's like, hey, you want some more water? It's like, why would I need some more water? I don't need any sustenance. I am the Jack of Hearts. And then she looks, she points out to us, like, for a person who doesn't need any sustenance, you sure drank a whole glass of it. So this is giving us indication that Jack of Hearts' human side is coming back, because he couldn't figure out what was going on here. And again, stupid double page ad for out of nowhere for Immortal X-Men #1. Not to say
it's
that
revealed they're Martians, I think now.
It's getting there and weird. And you know, for a person who's saying it doesn't need any substance and everything, he drank the water. She comes back with another glass. He downs it like no tomorrow. He has his back to her and everything. They go to the kitchen. He grabs a whole pitcher and downs that like no tomorrow. And he's up here trying to figure out, why am I doing this?
He's thirsty.
Again, this is a sensation that he hasn't had in years.
He might be diabetic.
In a way, Jennifer kind of figures out, it's like, okay, fine, you know, maybe it's time for you to eat something, and then, you know, a whole thing, blue binge and all this other stuff. And he's trying to figure out, why am I doing this? You know, why am I doing this? I was like, I never had to do this before in most of my lifetime. But if I know Jack of Hearts from back in history, he probably forgot about his human side, because he is part human. And then, you know, they're talking and everything. He's like, well, I don't know. It's like this, that, and the other. I really don't need no rest. This, that, and the other. It's like, are you sure? It's like, maybe you need to relax. You need to heal from your wounds, or this, that, and the other. And, you know, he's constantly talking all this noise about, oh, no, I'm a cosmic being. Don't worry about it. It's like, I'm invulnerable, this, that, and the other. He gets back over to the couch and just crashes. Mm-hmm. I mean, literally crashes. And, you know, like I said, she noticed, like, okay, you know, this is like out of the ordinary for him. And then we got a advertisement for Electra 100. I'm not going to worry about that right about now. So we get to the next morning. Jennifer gets up, you know, gets ready to head to work. Leaves a note for Jack to say, you know, pretty much it is what it is here. You know, now this is kind of like the weird going on here, because this is like one of the few times it's like she's actually doing this in her normal green persona, you know, taking the subway and all this other stuff. And if you ever paid attention to her other books and her other series, it's normally the other way around. It's like in her green form, she normally has her own modes of transportation, but this is the first time that she's, you know, being in this aspect where she doesn't have as the She-Hulk like she normally would if she was Jennifer. So she's taking public transit and everything, and then big old traffic jam. They kind of stuck and whatnot on the bus and whatnot. She gets off the bus, helps the ambulance out, carries the ambulance where the ambulance could get through and whatnot. She leaves her card on the back of the ambulance just in case, you know, they need a lawyer or whatnot. And she finally gets to work on time to impress her new boss and whatnot, which is a step up from where, you know, she was at the very beginning. And then we get two ads here, one for a Marauders #1, which again, care less about. And then we got the what if Miles Morales was Wolverine, I think. But this is what I find interesting. The very last page of the story, of at least this issue, it's two people talking, but we don't get to see who they are. And it actually gets to, you know, if you actually pay attention to it, it's like Jack of Hearts stole the tarts. What will happen next, April? April, what will happen next? Hush now, Jack of Hearts. So pretty much wherever he just escaped from, they already know where he went to. And they try to figure out that Jack and Jennifer is linked because of him siphoning her gamma radiation. It's kind of like a homing beacon for him. And it ends there. So we're about to get ready to see who is really after the Jack of Hearts coming up in issue #3. So that's how issue #2 lines up as of right now. What I like about this issue is now what I miss in a lot of comic books, something that is character driven. A lot of books now is about, all the wham bam, thank you, ma'am, villain of the week, or we got to go and punch our way out of stuff instead of being something that's character driven. We're still trying to figure out why Jack is having problems as of right now, why his more human innate human nature is coming out of him at this point in time. And two, we don't know who's truly after him. And to be quite honest, it's been a long time since we saw the Jack of Hearts. I barely remember a lot of his powers. So it's kind of good to see what they're planning to do with Jack of Hearts and how it's going to be intertwined with Jennifer from this point forward. So unlike the first issue, I kind of wish that this was issue number 1, because it sets up everything to make you want to get that issue number 3, as opposed to issue number 1, where it kind of gave you that kind of like that whole slice of life type aspect of it. This gave you more of the character driven. It's like, oh, there's a deeper mystery going on here that doesn't necessarily relate to the law aspect to Jennifer, but it relates more back to what she used to do with the Avengers and how it might come back into play based upon her dealings with other characters. So with that being said, I will give issue number 2 of She-Hulk number 2 a 9 out of 10.
Ooh.
Mainly because, like I said, it keeps that mystery going as far as what to really expect next out of this whole series.
But did she get a new suit for this issue?
No, again, that was always described in issue number 1 when she met up with Janet and got the apartment. The apartment was fully furnished, had new clothes for her, and all this other stuff. So all that was resolved in issue number 1. So that's why I say I kind of wish that this issue was issue 1 more so than anything else.
One was just a practice run.
No, it's actually it's really what they try to do. They try to set up Jennifer's character without giving us a real, grab you type here, get issue number 2 type moment. Other than the fact that, Jack of Hearts just pop out of nowhere. That to me does not build a story. It didn't build any how can I say, any need to just delve right into the next issue. It was like, okay, Jack of Hearts. We haven't seen Jack of Hearts in a long while. I might get it, might not. This here, trying to figure out what was going on with him, and then him acting funny and everything, and her taking kind of like pity, trying to figure out what in the world was going on, and trying to understand their relationship, because like I said, he literally saved her, but at a cost. And the thing about it is that he doesn't understand why he came to her. He has no clue. However, the people at the very end of the book do. That grabs you. That makes you get that next issue to figure out what is behind this mystery.
Very nice. Very nice.
I remember the miniseries that they had of Jack of Hearts, and everybody was talking about him, and then he Kaiser Sojade, and just, I haven't heard anything for so long. I saw that he was going to be in that issue, and it kind of made me want to get it. He's been on my list of B-list booster characters for a while. I just don't know very much about him, so I'd have to do some research, but it's cool that they brought him back.
Yeah, I always liked him. Well, thank you, Joe. Appreciate that review.
No, I'm just trying to see if that number 1 is in this list, in this grouping of books that I was supposed to send to CGC eventually.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to read some comments here. John Pica remembers Jack of Hearts. He's excited to return. And during Chuck Austin's run, yes, on the Avengers, then Brian Michael Bendis killed him off in Disassembled. And Jen has always preferred maintaining her She-Hulk persona. I remember John Byrne did a great graphic novel of She-Hulk way back when. And she had some sort of accident, and Reed Richards said, I have some good news and some bad news. You're stuck forever in the body of the She-Hulk, Jennifer. And she just kind of looks at him for a panel and then goes, okay, what's the bad news? You know,
No, that was, if I remember
Classic.
correctly, that was the first Dan Slott run of She-Hulk
okay.
when Reed Richards is like, he told her that, but at the same time, you know, they turn back around. It's like, it's not because of the added excess gamma radiation that she took on.
Mm-hmm.
He said it was more mentally because she wants to be that way.
Right.
They was up here trying to figure out, was like, how come she's more powerful? How come she's not able to control a lot of her ability now?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was more because she wanted to be that more so than anything else.
Nice.
If she didn't stay in that form, she would never have been able to hook up with the Juggernaut.
That was also explained too in the second run of Dan Slott's run.
Mhm.
And that one was the weird one because that was the first time that we got what was equivalent to the time bureau that we had in Loki. It turned out, you know, that in the, you know, the whole thing about the variants in Loki, that was one of her variants that was locked away, that escaped. That slept with Juggernaut, because that was the whole thing. I remember the cover where it's like the human form of Jennifer talking to her form in, you know, as a Hulk, and there was a court case where they said that the alternate version, the variant version of She-Hulk, committed a crime, and the only person that was there to defend her was our universe version of Jennifer Walters. And that's how we, you know, the whole thing about superhuman law and the variants and all this other stuff came back, because they talked about not the vault, but I forgot what it was, where all the heroes that have been gone away or been locked up or just been written out of history go to. There's a specialized prison for them.
Oh, the Raft?
No, not the Raft. The Raft is actually used for characters that stays in continuity. This is one, like, you know how you have Antonio Stark. He would go to this far off place, like he was a variant, or young Tony Stark from The Crossing. He would get locked away into this place to exist, but never in constant continuity. Kind of like how variants were in Loki. That's how they kind of got a lot of that information from.
Okay. Well, thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. And Rick Bradley is here. Good evening, comic book lovers. Rick, it is good to see you. We'll see you at Benton, Illinois this Saturday at the SI Comic Con. I'll be there along with some other wonderful people. And Carl Wisman says, neat, Joe. Thanks. And Donna Carlene loves that cover. I agree. That was a spiffy little cover there. And yeah, that cover draws you in, says Carl. And the kid just stole his pen again. Oh, little terrorist. Anyway, John B. Pica says, no, BK was right. It was the She-Hulk graphic novel. She eventually did regain the ability to change back, and he is a She-Hulk mark, he says. And Rick Bradley says, I'm with you, John. If I see any comic of She-Hulk and I have the money on me, it's coming home with me. He didn't say
that graphic novel there was a errata to that graphic novel. That's the thing that he forgot about. But yes, Brian is correct about what happened in that graphic novel. That's not what I was referring to.
Yeah, I never read the
other story. There was another story that paralleled that.
Yes, and
in constant continuity, dealing with that character, that made it seem like it was more of a mental thing, of reason why she didn't want to change back.
Well, John says Joe is correct that Dan Slott did retcon the inconsistencies in Shulky's history. There were no inconsistencies. I had it all straight. There we go. Okay, Rick Bradley says, Carl, you mean the kid reclaimed their pen? Probably so. So anyway, great job, guys. Anyway, I'll take the next one. We'll lead up to Clyde, the moment that everyone waits for every week. Yay! Even Clyde waits for it. But anyway. So anyway, I went in my comic shop today, or not today, but yesterday rather, and I wound up my subscription list with Bupkis. That's a term meaning they didn't have anything for me, so I had to skewer the racks. I did find something. But I do want to give a shout out, because yesterday I also received in the mail Bloodwing Angel by Dr. John Silvestri. This is a cool little book. Yes, those are boobies. And it is a fine tale. I've only had time to skim it, but it's about an angel finding her way through the cosmos and everything. And I'm really excited because John, in case, if you're one of the 4 or 5 people who haven't heard, John is responsible for the only 15 minutes worth watching in the Star Wars Christmas special from way back when. And he was the first man to unveil Boba Fett. You may have heard of him. Anyway.
So John did the virtual sex thing?
Yes, that's right. Yes, John did.
Which,
John
if you haven't seen the Christmas special, there is a virtual sex scene.
There is, and I can imagine everyone.
No wonder it never comes on anymore.
Yeah, it was George Lucas spent how many decades denying that it had ever been on the air. So, but anyway,
I don't know what you're talking about, people.
Yeah, right. You people must be insane. This is not the Christmas special you were looking for. This is not the Jefferson Starship you're looking for. But anyway, these 2 issues came out on a really thick size of books. You're going to get a lot of story and art in there. Contact John Celestri for details. I didn't have time to read it today, but I'm planning on tearing into it tomorrow to reward myself for meritorious behavior. And what I did get, though, was there was this great DC book, and it actually had no ads for Batman in it. And you're probably wondering,
It must have been a Marvel book then.
This isn't DC?
No, that's not DC.
Well, face front, true believers. I actually bought a Marvel comic book. The reason
Hell has frozen over.
That's right. Me and the Eagles are touring. Anyway, a couple of years ago, Ed Plisker, I believe, who does a book called Red Room that nobody ever reads the second issue because the first one is so icky. He did a couple of volumes of retelling the history of the X-Men. My sister-in-law, Barb, got it for me for Christmas one year, and I really liked them. And Jim Rugg has done something very similar. He has gone, beautiful cover, I think. But basically, he starts out with issue number 1 of The Incredible Hulk. And it was funny because the way this is placed, you turn the page, and then the second page of what should be the story is an ad for Elektra.
Yeah.
I was like, what's she doing in the Hulk? But I'm glad to see Anna Cindy is writing for Marvel, and Ty Templeton's doing that book. I may have to pick it up. But anyway, it has the origin of the Hulk, then a recap of issue 1. And it actually goes through, recaps a lot of history with mixed media, shall we say, like a guest appearance in the Fantastic Four, and then the Avengers, the first issue of that, leading into the Hulk's run as the alternating lead feature in Tales to Astonish. Is it? Yeah, Tales to Astonish is one, sharing it with Giant Man and then Submariner. But anyway, it goes up through getting his own book, introducing people like Doc Samson and Jarella from the Harlan Ellison story. Also, along the way, picks up little things like mentioning Rolling Stone that had a major article on Marvel Comics with artwork by the great Herb Trimpe, and then also a foreign edition of the Hulk there. And then, just all kinds of little things to move the story along and give you an idea of what happened. Beautiful, beautiful stuff here. My only complaint is that they've yellowed the pages to make it look aged. I don't care for that. It'll get there soon enough. All right. And then, of course, they have a recreation of the classic Wolverine cover 181, along with the soon-to-be classic New Mutants number 25 ad. Then they make mention of things like the TV show, and it keeps moving on. And also little things like guest shots in other books, like Captain America. Then they have a little nod to the Fabulous Furry, if I can get that in there, Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers. Where is that? Oh, by my other hand, right there. Okay, a little nod to Gilbert Shelton there. And of course, Joe, they got to put it in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
because he was the reason Jennifer survived.
Exactly. And then it has like all kinds of other guest appearances leading up to the Hulk being taken to another Another Dimension. You get a list of all the books that were referred to in here in a 2-page Grand Design spread. And then a preview of next issue, the Grand Design Madness. The series is called Hulk Grand Design. If you want to get a quick history of the Hulk, painlessly and with a really good art on it. I really liked what Jim Rugg did with this. This is a good book for you. Then this is like $5.99, rated T for teen, and it's just a joy from one page to the next. Now I've read all of these in my lifetime, and I gotta say they did a great job of summarizing the life history of the Hulk, and I hope they continue doing stuff like this. Even though I've read all these stories before, it was really groovy to see them all in one place. I'm giving this a 10 out of 10. It is that good. And if you don't know anything about the Hulk, but want to catch up really quickly, this is the way to do it. So yeah, Hulk Grand Design, 10 out of 10. I really enjoyed it.
Why am I not in that book? Why did you not review a book for me?
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, well, let me check here. Are you sure you're not in here? You're sure? Let me check. Oh, yeah, there we go. Oh, wait, that's not the right one.
That's not the right one. Nope.
No.
I did have a couple of questions here.
Yes, sir.
Did that book cover the rivalry between Thing and Hulk?
It did touch on Fantastic Four number 12. And the Thing does pop up every now and then. But you can see that, right here, during the era when the regular Hulk book had been canceled to make way for a new comic book called The Amazing Spider-Man, because DC owned, the publisher of DC co-owned the distributing company that Marvel had hooked up with in the 50s, and they being competitors, they limited Marvel to like an X number of titles per month.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Is there still a rivalry though? Didn't Hulk beat the crap out of him a couple of years ago?
The reason I brought it up because back then it was a rivalry, and there was a story where Thing and Hulk got trapped in this other dimension, and they were looking for this one what appears to be a genie that will grant them whatever wishes that they want. So they fight through all this stuff. They finally get to the person and everything, and Big Grit was like, finally I have my chance to be normal again. We could go ahead and live our lives together, this, that, and the other. And the Being said, name your 3 things and I will grant them to you right now. And before Big Grit could speak, Hulk hungry, Hulk sleepy, Hulk want to go home. And then it's like, granted. So they transport back to Earth. And then next thing you know, they're there back, still as Thing and Hulk. There's a mile full of cheeseburgers, a bed, and they're back on Earth. And Thing wanted to just beat the living crap out. It's like, we could have been normal again, and you wished for all this other stuff. It's like, but Hulk hungry.
I remember that. Wasn't that a graphic novel?
Yes.
Written by Jim Starlin, drawn by Bernie Wrightson. Yes, that was beautiful.
Hulk hungry, Hulk tired, Hulk hungry, Hulk want to go home.
That was so funny. That was so funny. That was really, really good. But we got some more comments here. Rick Bradley says, okay, we said that. And John B. Pica says, Joe is correct that Dan Slott did retcon the inconsistencies. And that's because we didn't pick up Godzilla versus Power Rangers. See, you've got our pledge, John. You've got our pledge. And when did I cross into a different dimension, Brian, reviewing a Marvel book? Check Revelations. It is mentioned right next to the Rivers of Blood. And I still say Disney Plus could make a great horror series if they did the Immortal Hulk. Yeah. Maybe with a little less anti-Semitism, that would be nice. But anyway, John B. Pica is finally says BKM is finally developing a sense of good taste. Next, he might actually watch the Disney Plus MCU shows, God forbid. It could happen. Talk to Cookie. And so this is a history of the Hulk. Interesting. Yes, Carl, it is. And the next issue is going to cover a period when the Hulk was actually mindless. And then we're going to get into like when one of the smoothest transitions of creative teams ever I've seen, where you had Bill Mantlo and Mike Mignola. You may have heard that name come up on this show once or twice. And they were doing Alpha Flight, while Sal Buscema Bill Mantlo was doing that too. He was writing Hulk. I can't remember who was writing Alpha Flight. But anyway, they crossed over. And then the Alpha Flight creative team went on to Hulk, and then the Hulk creative team went on to Alpha Flight. I thought that was so cool. So yes, so we've got some good times, including the Peter David run coming up, and and that's a classic unto itself. And that run of Cap was epic, illustrated by Sal Buscema and Joe Sinnott. You were right, John B. Pica. They also, you couldn't really see it on the camera here, but they also had the issue of Iron Man, where right here, right there, where the Hulk and Iron Man squared off. Story by Dan Michelini, pencils by John Romita Jr., and inks by Bob Layton. And I own a piece of artwork from that. It is gorgeous. And Rick Bradley says, I remember when I had an issue of Hulk when I was a kid, an absorbing man touched some hot peppers and burned the Hulk. Oh, the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah. That brings back some good memories. But anyway, guys,
I got the one where he actually was touching cables from Hoover Dam and almost nearly electrocuted the Hulk.
Yes. Oh my God, the Hulk's had some really good stories.
And I got something for Donna here because she mentioned about the cover here.
Okay.
So that was the original, the A cover. Then you have this as an alternate for this issue.
Uh-huh.
Now the other one, the other alternate, I don't care for because it's Gwen Stacy as Wolverine. That doesn't count. I don't know why they do. I don't know why they do that for certain books, other than the fact that we gotta hype up other characters that means nothing to the series.
Of course.
But that was the other one that she mentioned that the cover was pretty. As I think that one counts too. It's
not bad. Do you know who did that one? Just curious. You don't have to open it up if you don't know. It's fine.
No, I normally would say right here on the cover, but no, I don't see it. But besides, I got multiple copies of.
Okay, all right. Well,
it doesn't bother me. Not
okay
yet. This one.
Just curious.
Romy Jones.
Okay.
Did this one?
All right. Okay. Very good. Okay. Yeah, and I agree with Donna Carlene here. The alternate is okay, but the first cover is better. I have to agree with you on that one. I like the first cover.
First one reminded me of a John Byrne cover.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Which ain't a bad thing to be reminded of.
No.
Well, again, I don't want to be reminded of it because I'm still kind of ticked off about Sensational She-Hulk number 40. There's no reason why that book should be anywhere close to $600-700 at a 9.8.
Was there anything special about that book?
That was the jump rope parody issue where they were talking about sexualization.
Oh yeah.
People look at that as a quote unquote naughty book when it really wasn't. It was a gag that was played. Now, the thing that I disagree with a lot of collectors, that particular issue, well, actually, anything after, I believe, issue number 30 was low print, was quote unquote low print run.
Oh, yeah.
But they're not rare. There's still a lot of them in circulation.
Right.
But because of speculation and the fact that it was deemed a naughty book, they priced a lot of people out of it.
Just wait 6 months; it'll come back down to normal. That's the way it usually works.
It's been more than 6 months.
Oh, has it? Okay, starting tomorrow, it's not worth anything, kids. Throw your copies away. Anyway, Rick Bradley says, I could get a Superman to Hulk. When Banner's mind was in Hulk's body, he was reading a book with his glasses on, and Rick Jones came in and asked where the Hulk was. Hulk removed his glasses, and Rick did a double take and said, I guess the glasses really do work. And John Pica says that issue of She-Hulk was sexy as hell.
I had a Superman Spider-Man comic from 1981
Yeah,
Doctor Doom,
Now-
Parasite, and the Hulk was in that as well.
that's right.
Oh, that was the second one. It wasn't the
Yeah,
battle.
it was the second one. Yeah,
It was the second
That was
one.
beautiful. I liked it even better than the first one.
I remember coloring in the inside of it because the opening cover, I think it was the inside cover was just line art, like
Right.
a coloring page.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which, thank you, Eric. You've just made my copy worth that much more. So anyway, so here comes the highlight of the evening. Not that you've had any scrubs here, by gosh, you've had some good stuff coming at you. But now we have our gold standard here, our favorite, Mr. Clyde Hall. Clyde, what do you have for us this week? Yay!
Well, thank you.
No pressure.
No pressure. Well, my books this week. This is the 5th new comic book day of a month, and a lot of times that's kind of a thin outlay of new stuff. So, like, this was an excellent read. I've been reading Newburn, and it's very it's a very detective story done in one. Each issue solves a mystery, and they've even got it's so well done that they've even got room for a backup story that is also good. But this one is number 5 is like a cask of Amontillado. It is a minimalist masterpiece.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's very, very good. And I read through it first and I was like, well, that's pretty simple. And then I read it again and I saw, the subtlety in which it's almost a standalone, just this character. He's incarcerated and he has a cellmate and a couple of other characters, but most of his support characters are not there. The dialogue is minimal, but in one issue with still room for a backup, we find out what the mission was, what the answer was, and who done it. So really, it was a very, very good, unusual kind of read, but not bad. We got to go back to Astro City. That was nice.
Cool.
Yep. And kind of like Joe was talking about, the first issue of Iron Fist was okay. It's pretty good. But number two was better. Number 2 has a beautiful section about what it takes to be the Iron Fist and all the people that have trained to do it and didn't get to become the Iron Fist and why, and how people that seem unlikely candidates or outsiders sometimes are given the opportunity to go to become the Iron Fist in a way that nobody else has. That includes the new Iron Fist. It was just a very, very good explanation of what the heart of Shao Lao entails. And that sometimes the most likely candidate is not the best candidate. It's really, really good story. I got the follow-up issue to John Carpenter's Worlds of Science Fiction. And these come in 3-issue blocks, these stories. And, it's a complete adventure. And this one went someplace I did not expect. I really like the John Carpenter Tales of Science Fiction series that I have read so far. This is the part this is the first one I've sampled, although I've read some synopsis of the others. I'm going to be getting some more of this if they continue putting them out. And my pick for this time, and this is very much a Fifth Wednesday pick. This is from some young creators, and it's called Broken Eye. I'm actually calling it my 5th new comic book day of the week, of the month special, because if I read the background right, and it's kind of hard to see, it's kind of hard to track it because the creators they're not American. A lot of the things that they have posted aren't in English, so it's hard to follow all of it. But if I understand it correctly, it was an indie project, and Scout Comics picked it up and published it. It feels very much like an early indie attempt by young creators, and yet it is not. It didn't get any negative reviews that I saw anyplace, but it's also getting no reviews anyplace. And I thought it has enough going for it that it really should be spotlighted. So I'm using my 5th new comic book day of the month to put a little spotlight on the efforts of some young folks who are putting down a pretty good start to, I believe it's an ongoing series that mixes crime drama and the supernatural, and with a period piece, which I like period pieces. So, Broken Eye. Let's look at some of the art here. If it has a weakness, for me personally, the artwork seems more like something that you would see on a humor title. It's kind of lightweight for as grim as I think the story is going to go, but it is atmospheric. It's Liverpool, 1970. You get that really the docks, get that kind of darkness. And also, if you look very closely, you get the sound of the foghorns and the boat whistles. Yeah. Ooh. Sets it up nicely for where it goes once it gets started. You have dogs being run off by rats on the wharf as they they vie for food. 2 coworkers sitting there talking. One has scars and an unusual color to his eye. That's Seamus, and that is the bearer of the broken eye. The details, there are some, I don't know whether it's the coloring, the lettering, and the art was all handled by the same person. So there's some nice details in parts, and then others, it's kind of blank and they stand out. It could have used some more detail in the backgrounds a bit, or a change of color maybe. Some of the colors to me seem to really draw attention to the fact that there's nothing there. It's kind of blank. We see quite a bit of exposition. We're introduced to characters mainly. There's a little bit of action, but not too much. And this blue page, this blue part over here is kind of an interesting side note to the rest of the series. We'll get to that here in a minute. And I like the artist as he goes along, mixes up some of the points of view and has a bit of a cinematic flair as we get near the end of the issue. I kind of like that. It's pretty straightforward up to that point, but as it goes along, it reminds me of some of the things I've seen our own independent creators do, where their first issues were they were a little bit uncertain or unsure, and as they went along with each subsequent panel sometimes, or pages and issues, they gain more confidence and their skills build. And I got a real feel for that progression through this book. So, Broken Eye #1, Scout Comics, $3.99. It is written by Martin and Xavier Echevarria. The art and letters are by Iñaki Arenas. The maturity level is rated mature. While I write for various sites, this is my own independent feature, and it should not be considered representing any views of those sites. So, if you like The Sopranos, there's an episode that I always think about. Episode 22, and you have Paulie Walnuts. It's one of Tony Soprano's captains. He's unsettled by visions of hell that another member of their gang relates following a near-death experience. Using an alias name, Paulie, who is a really tough and no-nonsense underworld enforcer, goes to a psychic's group session for peace of mind. Instead, the psychic makes afterlife contact with 2 gangsters that Paulie's whacked, and seemingly minor but specific details regarding their deaths seep out. Paulie calls the psychic a fraud, and he throws a chair, and he storms out in a fit of anger, but he's more unnerved than ever before. It's a good example of a tough and practical individual who, even though he's existing in a world of criminal operations and their realistic dangers, is very superstitious. In Paulie's case, this scene indicates that the psychic's ability is not a scam, so it's hard to blame him. But the scene also calls back to the roots of The Sopranos creator, David Chase, who cut his television teeth writing and editing episodes of Kolchak, the Night Stalker, and in those especially the episode called The Zombie. Chase showed early talent mixing underworld stories with supernatural overtures and characters. Well, in this new Scout comic title, Broken Eye, I felt the same situation constructed within a period crime drama set in the 1970s setting of Liverpool, UK. Some very serious, dangerous individuals are found in the opening chapter, as is our protagonist, a young dock worker possessing a psychic gift. Seamus has the power of psychometry. That's the ability in which a person can sense or read the history of an object by touching it. In Seamus's case, he has a full vision of what's gone before, and always in shades of blue. Thus, that's that panel progression in blue that I pointed out. The first issue's title is, aptly enough, The Past is Always Blue. Based on the occurrences here, literally and figuratively, because they're blue in tone, they're sad. They're of the sad variety normally, from what we've seen so far. The kind that are conjured when you and your coworker take a break from loading garbage scows and you spot something floating along in the water. John doesn't care about it, but Seamus, he retrieves the item and finds a human hand no longer attached to its original owner. Meanwhile, local detective Inspector Hadaway discusses with his superior a case that they've been trying to build against local crime figure Sebastian Delport, a man involved in everything from illegal gambling to weapon sales to drugs and fencing stolen goods. We also get to meet Seamus's friend, Victoria, and her young son, Philippe, when he encounters them at Mass. Now, she's a single mom working in the local sex trade and with clientele steady enough to keep a roof over their heads. Her customers may, it's inferred, but it is not specified, so may include the local priest as well. In the church, while holding rosary beads, once belonging to his mother, Seamus relives what appears to be her deathbed, the rosary wrapped around her hand as she speaks to him about his absent father. Philippe notices when he drops the rosary and also comments how it looked like Seamus's eye, that discolored one with the vertical scar, seemed to be glowing. Well, Seamus blames the candlelight of the church and the fact that he was crying over a painful memory of his mother. But it appears that his ability has actual physical manifestation. We also meet Brendan. He's a member of the IRA who has served his time and is being released from incarceration into Belfast, Northern Ireland. Brendan's a hard case, and it appears that he has done hard time, and he's ready for making things hard on the British once again. This involves, according to his associates, handling a little problem that Sebastian Delport has in Liverpool in exchange for guns. The final part of the narrative reveals that Seamus, taking the recovered hand out of his refrigerator of all places, he gets a hold of it and he begins to call upon a vision using the broken eye to see how it came to be severed. Well, apparently, the parting of ways between Extremity and Owner, that's a part of Delaporte's criminal problem. So all these characters are set for a collision course. Co-writers Martine and Xavier Edeberria unveil Seamus's world, his powers, and their cast of characters in a very straightforward way. But it is engaging. And Seamus seems a decent young man working hard at a low-paying, back-breaking job. Victoria, the hooker, is devout, but consigned for the moment to making a living as a prostitute. I did get the feeling that she might be a heart of gold variety of prostitute, but it's early to tell. So I won't hold that against them. But I'm interested to see how it progresses, and hopefully not that stereotypical kind of, hooker with a heart of gold. The inspector, in his case, though, they feel very 1970s crime caper simple. But there are some questions beneath the narrative regarding who he can actually trust at his workplace. Brendan is in a passing exchange with a guard, he strikes a real chord as he leaves prison. He's fighting for a cause that he definitely believes in. He isn't going to quit fighting, and he's never going back to jail. The early 1970s was a very violent time in the UK, featured in nightly news here in the States, and even making its way into storylines for our TV shows here. When I was a kid, an episode of Medical Center focused on the conflict, and as a kid, I remember I wanted to learn more about it. I didn't understand the unrest in Northern Ireland and British occupation there. The atmosphere created for their story here seems correct for the time, and you feel that simmering tension between the police and the IRA and the underworld and the British military occupation. It builds empathy within you for folks like Seamus and Victoria, who are just trying to get by and make a living, but they're squarely caught between both of these warring factions. The supernatural psychic element is kept simple, but there are indications that may change as the issues progress. The glowing discolored eye could give even more hardened law enforcement or street criminals a start. There's also the tempting possibility of a desperate inspector discovering Seamus's gift and trying to use it to build his own case, although he'd have to come up with another explanation for court besides that it's a psychic insight. The artist and colorist and letterer, Iñaki Arenas, excels with character expressions and builds the cast with visual details and body language, Seamus and Brendan being the most prevalent cases. Foregrounds offer sufficient details, and the angle choices of panels keep things varied. The background elements, they're kind of feast or famine, and the blank areas do stand out. Again, I think that the color, if a different color palette was used, that might lessen the effect. For a waterfront that's seen brighter days, and one where stray dogs fight with sewer rats for scraps, and where, in fact, gulls enter your open window of your apartment and filch table scraps, things here look pretty clean. Even the drunk passed out along the curbside appears to be well scrubbed, if a little threadbare. The style used in number one artistically seems more suited to a lighter take than a crime drama's back alleyways, but it's early to say that that's the case, or if I'm maybe giving it a grimmer atmosphere than it really is going to have. The lettering placement's good, and it leads the eye through the panels with dialogue made interesting and variations, including some differences between reality and the wordplay in Seamus's visions. And we get an excellent variety of those effect fonts. He captures the visual noises of urinating off the dock and different animal calls and that soulful echo of the foghorn. This represents an early effort, I believe, for the creative team, and they've created an interesting premise which pulls the reader in successfully. Street-level crimes, stories like that are braided with the unexpected and supernatural, that's always a mixture I enjoy. Cops and to some degree criminals rely on how the world is supposed to work, how their enterprises operate regarding numbers and facts and proof and actionable intel. And having someone as vulnerable as Seamus upsetting that 1970s Liverpool crime scene with these unnatural elements, I want to see how that plays out. And with the poly scene above that I mentioned in The Sopranos, I always wanted a return trip, a follow-up where a tough criminal has to face up to an uncomfortable truth. That death isn't the end, and you're being watched from the other side. You can dodge jail time all you want, but there's going to be a reckoning, and now you'll have to pay the piper, or once you've crossed over, you'll have to pay the farrier. My score for Broken Eye number one is 7 out of 10.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Sounds good.
Yeah, it was a decent read.
Yeah. Well, Carl Wisman says that looks like British art too in the styling.
Yeah, definitely has that. I don't know, and I could be wrong. It just seems a strange choice for the kind of story that they're building right here. But there's some shadowy, nice, gritty kind of scenes, but the characters look very clean cut. They're, they may be homeless, but they bathe daily. Is what it looks like to me. But
they're well kept. That's good to see.
Yeah.
John B. Pica, thank you for being here, my friend. Have a good night, have a good night, buddy. And anyway, thank you, Clyde. And that concludes the review segment of this program.
And he left.
Yeah, he did. I already said goodbye to him. So
yeah.
And
I was like,
oh, there you go.
While I was off camera, because I was getting ready for the question of the day, because it's a similar question that was asked on Comics Unlimited.
Okay.
But, that was, I pulled this one. I went through a couple boxes, pulled that one just to show. I was like, yeah, this is going to be like one of those classic covers, because she actually is holding a copy of
the original Hulk,
of the Incredible Hulk, which is kind of like, it's almost prophetic. It's like, the Toadman. It's like nobody thinks about the Toadman from that issue. So
I admit I'd forgotten about him until Bird put that on the cover.
Mhm.
Now we have another one of these great questions from Ryan Permison, and the question is favorite comic covers and why. That could be like a 5-hour show just on its own.
Right. I can't do favorite because I don't have my favorites here physically here.
Right.
So I just been, picking out stuff here. Oh, but that's going back to the Jack of Hearts thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah. George Freeman.
I just recently picked up one of the number one just recently. So that's the reason why I was like, I know I have one here. I just don't know where I did with it. But good looking. I'm going to go more good looking covers that would catch my eye because like my favorites are not here, or else I would have showed them. Edgar Earl Rice Jones, Tarzan #1.
Yeah.
And just the reflection. It's like the reflection of the younger version of him and Cheetah in the water.
That's nice.
And then followed up by issue #2 with him on the elephant.
Yeah.
And then classic Gold Key Phantom, like 502.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah. The painted covers, yes.
Yeah. And then this is what 508.
Oh, isn't that the one with about the 13th Phantom? Yeah, thought so. I remember that from my misspent youth.
And this is 510.
Uh-huh.
Trying to keep the glare out of it.
The guy who drew those, Bill Ligonante, I think his name was. He always signed his work. He was the CBS sketch artist on the Manson trial.
Ooh.
Did the courtroom sketches. Did a lot of those. So yeah.
And then this was a happen to run into type find. And the only reason I got it because it had a Will Eisner's The Spirit issue in it. But this is a Plastic Man number 18 from Super Comics that had this specially drawn Spirit issue and a Spirit story up in it.
Yeah.
I never thought that I always know Plastic Man from DC, but this is like one of the weird ones that I came across. That's like, yeah, I got to get it because it's like this is like one of those issues that when you're going to see Will Eisner stuff going to be in somebody else's comic book.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
I've heard of that. I've never seen the issue though. I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I've got another one of the magazine enterprise, not magazine enterprises, but the IW comics. Another one of the Plastic Man. It was a Jack Abel cover. It was nice. IW made a habit of printing comics that the publisher thought were in the public domain. He thought they were in the public domain, even though they'd been published like about 3 years before. So.
Oopsie.
Yeah, but he and Saul Brodsky, Israel Waldman, the IW there, they went on to form Skywald magazines. Kind of a competitor to Marvel
Warren?
and to Warren. So yeah, those are cool, Joe. Those are very cool.
Yeah. So to answer Ryan's question, that's the best I could do right now. I know you was there for Comics Unlimited. Those were my favorites. I just don't have them on hand to show you guys.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I've got so many that I really love. I remember Mike Zeck did a beautiful run of covers for Captain America back in the 80s.
Every cover Mike Zeck does is beautiful.
Well, that's true. That's true. He, even back when he was doing stuff for Charlton, it was gorgeous. But I like one couple covers I like, and they're both Neil Adams. One was the wraparound cover to the Superman Meets Muhammad Ali book.
Oh yeah.
With about 200 different celebrities. Everyone from Jimmy and Rosalind Carter.
Book. I don't know what I did with it.
Yeah, mine's in a box somewhere downstairs in the basement. But it had like Wolfman Jack and the Osmond family and everybody. It was a beautiful, beautiful cover. Howard Cosell. My other one is also a Neil Adams one, and it's an issue of Superboy. It's somewhere around 143 or so. but it shows this. If it had been anyone else, it would have shown like Superboy falling towards the earth, like almost like you're at the same level they are. This was you were slightly above Superboy, and Superboy was falling like back first, his feet in the air, wide-eyed with terror, and you see the earth below. It looks like kind of a patchwork quilt with the cornfields and everything of Kansas, and that was just such a striking cover. And then you turn the page and it's George Papp drawing it, which is like night and day as far as realism. I mean, George Papp, I did like his Superboy, and he was the original artist on Green Arrow. And I've always liked his work, but there's just something jarring about going from Neil Adams to a decided lesser amount of detail. But God, there've been so many great covers, and by people like Wally Wood. Thunder Agents #7. It takes, you see it from above. You're inside an airplane with a cargo bay. The cargo bay doors open up, and the invisible agent No Man is dropping down without a parachute into a moving car filled with gangsters that were shooting up at him. Beautiful cover. Wally Wood's like Neil Adams, doesn't know how to do a bad cover. So
yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of like I said, I could be here for hours just on my choices. So
I got a few.
Well, we're getting to you, Eric. In fact, I was about to take a breath and say, Eric, what about you?
Now, I'm sharing my screen so you could show it. Now, these aren't iconic
like
covers. They're just things I like. This one here,
Mike Zack,
made me buy that toy.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I know what you're talking about. Yes.
Was it the Devilfish or Devil Ray?
Stingray,
something like that. Yeah. The missiles always fell off the top though, but had little and the hoses that went on the motor came off all the time. Yeah, but I love that thing. And with wetsuit, General Hawk and Beachhead there.
I forgot who came with. I forgot who came with it because it wasn't wetsuit that came with it. It was a different driver that came with that toy.
Did anyone come with that one?
I think somebody did.
I don't know.
I have to look that up. I don't remember anyone coming with it.
Well,
this one's another one. I've always liked this cover, especially when I saw it on the newsstand. I just had to get it.
That's nice.
And, X-Men, Mark Silvestri.
Beautiful coloring.
What's next? Oh, a G.I. Joe yearbook. And actually, I don't even know who did this one, but I just loved it.
That cover?
Yeah.
Looks like Zack again.
I'm not sure if it is.
Oh, well, then hold on a second. G.I. Joe yearbook #3. I am going to look up that book. There is something called comics.org, the Grand Comics Database.
That's Snake Eyes and the Brainwave Scanner. And, Storm Shadow and Scarlet got a rescue. It could be Mike Zeck.
Well, let's see. I'm looking it up. Okay.
Well, while you look it up.
Yeah, and
this is Mike
that's
Zack.
A classic one. That's a classic one. Web of Spider-Man during Craven's Last Hunt.
Yeah.
I always go back to Craven's Last Hunt. I just always do. I just love that story. But I'm so fearful what Sony's going to do with the Craven the Hunter movie.
Yeah, who are they alleging is going to play Craven? I remember not being really impressed.
It was the same kid that played Quicksilver in the Avengers.
Oh, okay. And
he was in Kick-Ass too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he just looks too young.
Yeah.
Okay, the cover of the G.I. Joe is the pencils are by Mike Zack.
Okay, because the inks, it didn't look like his typical work. I mean, could have been, but something was different about the inks. Yeah.
The inks were John Beatty, who inked him on his Captain America run too, and I believe in the Punisher miniseries that he did long ago.
Yeah, it looks like McLeod inked him on here, and And my last one, my very last one. That's on for World of Oz #4. It's a.
We are unworthy. We are unworthy.
That will be available on April 8th, by the way. And drawing guts like the webbing sucks.
So there you go. If you want to get in on
So
this,
sucked.
I can imagine.
I have new respect for Mr. McFarlane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if you want to get a copy of that and other issues, variant issues of that, there is the address down below. Please sign up for the pre-launch. You are not committed to any sort of sale. You are simply going to be notified when it comes up. And there's also Amazonia, numbers 1 through 7 by Joe D. McFee, and Brian Rodman's pre-launch for
Nebulizer.
Nebulizer number 2. Number 2. Yeah, that's my aphasia.
Where is Rodman?
He had company coming over.
He had a dinner date.
Yeah, with relatives. He could have been with us.
I would have liked to eat dinner too. Jeez.
Well, you had like all day. Duh.
Yeah.
I worked during the day. Thank you.
Yes, us
I do.
working people.
Multitask.
I do too.
I wore me up some muscatoli right before.
Well, there you go. There you go. Now, Clyde, we didn't ask you yet. What were your favorite covers?
Well, I did a quick runaround. I picked, again, it's hard to say your favorite cover because there's a lot of good ones, but I did a quick runaround at the spin rack, and I found one.
I hate you have a spinner rack.
2 of them.
Oh!
What did he say?
He's got 2 spinner racks,
2
dude.
spinner racks. But
that's what he was referring to. I thought he pulled out a book. I was like, what?
No, not yet.
Still, the first
iconic, a favorite iconic. Jim Steranko's Shield runs with that strange, weird 60s vibe to it. You know.
Yes.
This is one that I had admired a long time, and I finally found a reasonably good copy that I could get as a reader copy. So, but he was doing some really innovative cover work then. So I consider that one of my favorite iconic comic book covers. Now, I'm a big Neil Adams fan, and one of them that got my attention early on was the wraparound. So for wraparound, he did a lot of those 100-page super spectacular covers, and every one of them was great. But seeing all the flying characters here, as a kid, I sat and just pored over this cover over and over and over. Really,
is that the image on the Metropolis billboard?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Okay. Correct. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So yeah, that's one of my favorites from childhood. Now, if you want to talk about a kid going, I must have this book. It isn't necessarily iconic, but I could not have not picked up this redesigning of Captain Marvel's uniform when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Now this is Gil Kane with inks by Dan Adkins. Mm-hmm. And I know I had this as a kid because like a lot of the Marvel books I bought when I was very young, I cut out the cover figure so I could, like a paper doll, so I could play with him.
I did that too.
And so it was many years later when I found a good copy that I could go, I will not cut it up this time. I will keep it and love it and look at all the wonderful Gil Kane interior art.
And you would name it George.
And I will name it George. So now, I've always got to have a category like the most eclectic, weird, strange, gimmicky cover. Mm-hmm. And this is another one that was a house ad that plagued me until probably the early 2000s when I finally said, I'm getting this book. I want to see what's inside. I want to know the story of this cover. I actually had found some features and some examinations of the cover and why it was done the way it was. But now this is I believe this is Murphy Anderson and Kurt Swan's.
Yes, it is.
And every element of this cover is wrong.
Yeah.
And with the house ad, you couldn't see it all. You couldn't make out all the details. It was too small. So after coming across a few articles about this, it was a contest to see if fans could figure out what was incorrect. It was not a what if. It was not an imaginary story. It was actually in continuity, this weird, bizarro-ish world. But in here, it's got what all the different things are. Oh, a few issues later, they published what all the inconsistencies were. But you got everything from Crypto being colored like Streaky the Super Cat to the red Batmobile, the Supergirl emblem being inversed for its colors. You got Brainiac wearing Mr. Mixelplix's hat. It's just, Bizarro has the shield, the Superman shield correct, whereas Superman does not. It's reversed. And of course, he's got long hair. Not until the mullet had we ever seen long hair like this. Many years later on Superman.
Oh wow, the perfect Where's Waldo for the Superman fan.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's precognitive.
Now, added bonus, we have this beautiful bit of advertising art back when it wasn't all for Batman, for the Aurora monster model kits.
The glow in the dark line, right?
The glow in the dark line, yeah.
I am the only one that matters.
Oh, just take it easy because you're on the first page right there, except it's the other kind of Batman, not the normal one. So
there you go.
Was that Jimmy Olsen as Green Lantern?
No, that is actually that's their version of the Mad mascot. Alfred
E. Newman.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Well, DC had bought
Mad Magazine
by then, yeah.
Yeah. So those are just a sampling of some of them that I hold in high regard.
I mean, there's so many great covers. I remember one of my old houses. Before I had my son, when it was just I was married and just had Alyssa. I had a room to myself, and I had comics that I liked on the wall.
Yeah.
Then I didn't have a room to myself anymore. I had to take those all down. One of my favorite covers, and it's goofy. It's Ghost Rider, the Glow in the Dark Ghost Rider, covered by Mark Teixeira.
Mm-hmm.
The recent one, right?
No, the old one.
Oh, really? The one from the 90s?
Yeah. Just because I thought it's gimmicky, but I love Mark Teixeira's art. I just love it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
actually, every cover he did was great.
That's true. I'm also thinking, mentioning Superman 233, Kryptonite No More.
Oh yeah.
I remember where I was when I bought that thing.
Yeah.
I was in an airport, and I saw that on the rack, and we were just walking by the gift shop. I saw that, and I said, "Mom, we are purchasing that."
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting out my wallet. And it was that full length shot of Superman bursting those kryptonite chains in two.
It kind of rendered the way he was back, between the Golden Age and the Silver Age. Or the Golden Age kind of looked to his face and everything.
Yeah, and it kind of barrel chested the way they used to draw him back in the 50s and such. Yeah, that was just such a gorgeous cover.
Mm-hmm.
That really was. Yeah, I agree. There's just so many. We could do a top 10 every week.
So I figured you were going to pull one of your Moon Knights from back there.
No, I'm going to show something else. I'm going to tilt my camera up. I forgot to show this, and I just remembered it. There's Moon Knights, and of course, this one is one of my favorites. I mean, really, I don't know what it was about this. I used to use that to practice drawing the human anatomy.
I can see that.
Yeah.
But up here, this is something my daughter painted for me.
Oh,
let's see.
I might have to bring it closer, but it is Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's lovely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nicely
now,
done.
there was glass on the frame, but it used to hang above here. And I was sitting here drawing one day, and it just fell onto my drawing desk, and glass went everywhere. But luckily, it was saved. Yeah, I love that. It's always hanging in my office.
She's got the crescent moon cape down.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful job on that. Well, that's true.
I put the camera back down now, I guess.
Yeah, if we can.
You don't want to see the pops up there. I mean, you can see the bracket for the shelf, but
yeah, you talk about original art. I've got one that hangs at the base of my stairway. It was done by an old dear friend of mine named Francesco, who actually worked for DC and Marvel for a time back in the 90s. And we've known each other like forever from the old Chicago Comic Cons. We're still good friends. But I commissioned him to draw a Superman. And I told him just go nuts. And it's a pencil drawing. I'll have to I have to make a picture of it sometime. But it's basically Clark Kent opening up his shirt and got the X-ray vision going and everything.
Yeah.
And it's called The Hero Within.
Hmm.
It's beautiful.
I regrettably don't have any original comic art. I mean, other than my own, because when I could have got like Jim Lee pages for like a couple $100, I didn't because that was too expensive for me at the time.
Yeah,
we've been there.
All been there. Yeah.
Still too expensive. I'm just looking at stuff like this now.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic Four roast.
Yeah,
that was fun.
Yeah.
That was super.
And a series that I'm slowly getting back into because I missed it, and I do have a copy that has the original Thanos copter up in it, but I need to get a better one. But this is not it. But I'm totally getting back into Spidey Super Stories.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. That's gorgeous.
And then I gotta find a better copy of this, but I was shocked when the person said it. Yeah, I was like, "Yep, I gotta get it." It's Marvel Team Ups 107.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah. Very cool.
That one, this one was a very interesting story because I never saw these two really teaming up together like they did. And the story was told so well that it's like it meshes. They meshed very well as a duo.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, maybe one of these weeks I'll pull out some of my original art. I just located a few pages. I have one by a certain Mr.
I got
Hawkins.
a ton of original art.
Well, yeah, you do, and I've got a few pages of it too. So, thank you. So Ryan, we hope that answers your question for you. Thank you very much for asking. We love your questions. And to Ninja Genko, glad to see you here. Awesome storyline, awesome in those days. And Cindy Cap says, what do you think of covers that don't relate to the content?
So in other words, you're talking about why do people collect variant covers?
Well, more than that, I mean, I've gone on a rant more than once on here about contemporary comic book covers that are just posters, and they're okay, but they don't have anything that draw you into the story or represent the story in any way.
I don't mind that, but that cover Joe showed,
yeah,
it has nothing to do with the comic whatsoever.
No.
Not even a character in the comic. That's bad.
That infuriates me. But you have to. It's like if you're a completionist, you're going to be like, well, I got to get the cover just to complete the set.
Yeah,
type deal. And a lot of times I don't. With characters like She-Hulk, I didn't realize that there were so many different variant copies of #1 because now there's store variants and knockoff variants from particular artists that is not generally seen in like Diamond books and stuff to that magnitude anymore. These one-off where it's like it's only 2,000 of these made or 3,000 of these made, and they're gone to one particular store or one particular seller. And depending on if you're a fan of that person's artwork, that's the only way you could get it.
Yeah.
And to me, that to me makes, this whole thing about, and I rant about speculation all the time. I hate it. Because again, people don't realize true speculation is always about the availability of getting said issue. Not necessarily the variant cover, but like, let's take, for example, the recent She-Hulk #1. You won't see that price raise all that high right now, only because there's so many different opportunities to get that #1. Plus, there's a second print out there. It's not going to raise that high. However, people are speculating on the variant covers because of, like I said, the variations and the low print run on specifics drives those prices up to price the average person out of it. And I don't like that type of stuff. And then those prices piggyback to the original issues, and that drives people out of the series. That happens.
Yeah.
It's
Now,
like-
at your guys' comic shop, when a variant cover comes out, say it's more of a limited cover, it's one every 100 or one every 1,000. Does your comic shop automatically mark it up on day one it's out if
Mhm.
they have it?
Nope.
We got two shops. Well, there's multiple shops here in St. Louis. There's two franchises. There's Fantasy Books Incorporated, and there's Fantasy Games. Fantasy Games. That day it comes out, boom! This one's $30 just because it's a 1 in 100 variant. The other one, which owns Heroic Adventures, which I go to in Edwardsville, Illinois, they leave it at cover price until later.
Right.
So
Yeah, my store doesn't. Blue Moon Comics on Earls Avenue, they get a lot of the regular variants. The ones that are like $1 more with a cardstock cover, and they do not charge more than the suggested retail price for that. And they don't really go for a lot of the, order 200 copies of this issue, and we'll send you the
a lot of
variant.
shops can't really do that anymore.
Not really, no.
Again, the market is just it's not there anymore. And like I said, I talked to a lot of comic shop owners, especially since I've been dealing with this whole thing about distribution and getting my books into stores.
Yeah.
And it's weird because, like I said, again, I want to do so much more on the channel to talk about price point and the stuff that I'm learning about pitching to a comic book store. Because a lot of times I feel us as creators, we price a lot of the stores out, but then again, we also have to build up our audience to show these stores that people will buy it.
Right. That's true. So anyway, well, actually, I want to say one thing. I like a lot of the 1940s symbolic covers.
Yeah.
Like Wiz and Captain Marvel had some great patriotic covers. And so did Superman. Superman has an iconic one of him holding an American flag back, cityscape in the background, black sky, him smiling, looking heroic. And one of my favorites is one that takes place inside a Japanese submarine right after the war began. And the two Asian Navy guys are panicking because they're looking in the periscope, and they see this picture of Superman swimming towards them, looking very, very unhappy. And
Why wasn't he flying?
Sorry?
Why wasn't he flying?
He didn't fly back then.
Right. The original
World War II, he wasn't flying yet?
No, he had Hulk power. He had Hulk power. He just left.
Yeah.
And he leaped.
I thought by then he was flying. I knew originally he couldn't fly. He just leaped a single back.
Wasn't until Captain Marvel started flying that Superman kind of copied that, I think.
And also the radio show, too.
Well, darn it, he's got a cape. He needs that for something.
Yeah.
You just
for drag for floating back down to Earth.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. No, he did have some early issues where, like, he kicks his legs or he uses his muscles, and it looks like he's flying. But it wasn't until the radio program that he genuinely started flying, and the comics didn't really come out and say for a while that he was flying, because you look at like those old poses, and it still looks like he's leaping. And in fact, Wayne Boring was always drawing that even up into the 60s, where you see like Superman looks like he's running across the skies,
Yeah.
So it took a while.
Also, for covers, I don't mind if the scene isn't in the book, as long as it's in the right. I mean, that's ideal. But sometimes there are things like if it's a street crime kind of a Spider-Man story, and you have Spider-Man watching a drug sale go down, or somebody being mugged,
Right.
and that's not actually in the story, but it still thematically fits, or things like that wraparound cover of Neil Adams. The theme of that, where they're all flying heroes. That scene isn't in the book anyplace,
Right.
but I think it works because it carries on a theme, or like you were talking about, the iconography. If the iconography is there, the Batman oversized book that has him on a building, and I think it's Jim Aparo that drew him. I'm not sure. It could be somebody else, but it's got all of the instead of the bat signals, it's got all of the.
That was Aparo. Yeah. That
Okay,
was
it's got the Joker, and it's got Catwoman, and it's got the Penguin. That's not in the book anywhere, but I I wouldn't trade you anything for that cover. I love that cover.
That was beautiful. That
yeah.
was beautiful. Rick Bradley says that cover with Wolvie hanging was good. Good issue as well. That it was. And he wants that cover of Zombiful World of Oz.
It's coming soon.
It's coming soon. Check out the Kickstarter and make sure you're notified when that comes out. And
5
Hawkins,
a.m. next Friday.
There we go. There we go. And Hawkins, that cover is mine. Love it, says Ted Davies Artistry. And Lissy says, I remember that room. Ty took your room and your hair.
No, the hair was already starting to go. I got rid of the mullet right before you were born, actually.
Thank God for that. Traumatized.
Well, it's like, okay, I'm going to be a dad. Nah, the mullet's got to go.
Yep. No more party in the back.
No more party
19,
in the back.
so, It wasn't like I was 30 with a mullet. I was 19 years old.
When I was 30, I didn't have a mullet. So, and I still had hair. I also had a choice. Anyway, Rick Bradley said, I was so mad they didn't put the Thanos copter in Infinity War or Endgame. A missed opportunity, if you ask me.
That kind of looked like the helicopter blade.
There you go. See? Maybe it was in there in spirit. And boing, boing.
It was in Loki.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
It was also in an episode of Epic Rap Battles of History. It was Thanos versus Robert Oppenheimer about who had the bigger body count.
Speaking of Spidey and having weird things show up in Spider-Man, Spidey's
a parachute. There we go, Cindy. Yes, what we got?
Amazing stories.
Here, let me.
I came across
Spider-Woman. Yes, the very first Spider-Woman,
Valerie.
Oh yeah.
I had forgotten all about that. But yeah.
And if I remember that story correctly, she didn't have any power. She just happened to find the Spider-Man suit and put it on.
Well,
and I'm going to do some good while I have it.
Suction cup.
Yeah.
Suction cups on her feet. And she's climbing buildings. And I'm like, wow. It's kind of the Prowler power set. That's not powers. It's just gimmicks. But, I had forgotten I came across that panel the other day, and I'd forgotten all about our first Spider-Woman. I believe that was before any of the other versions.
That was way before Jessica Drew.
Okay,
yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. Again, Ryan, thank you very much for your question. We appreciate it very highly. And if any of you have any questions, bring them to the show. We will try to answer them. We'll show off our big throbbing brains for you. So anyway, does anyone here have anything else to add to tonight?
Well, I had a question for Eric. 2 questions.
Yeah.
One, what's the show tonight? What kind of a theme do you have?
It's an Indiegogo project. It's called Trolls Exposed.
Sounds sexy.
Well, it's I think I know what it's about now. I watched the trailer for it and I was just confused. It is about trolls, but it's not just trolls, the the D&D trolls, it's not just about them. It's that the trolls, actual trolls, internet trolls and people trolls are really real. Are there these kind of trolls in disguise? So, I mean, one of the Scott. So what has he got here? He's got the angry video chat troll.
Oh wow!
Yeah. You guys are going to have fun with this.
Oh my God!
So I will probably draw a classic D&D.
Right. I'm thinking Garfield kids at that point.
There you go.
Oh, I wish I saw the prices of Garbage Pail Kids the other day. I wish I still had those things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I had no idea those would be worth anything.
Yeah.
I took them off and stuck them on stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a whole set.
Four.
I had a whole set of the DC big stickers that you could buy where they had like Hawkman, the beautiful Hawkman artwork and stuff. I put them all over my room. Did I keep them? No, I didn't keep them on the sheet. I put them all over the room.
I did the same thing with the Marvel chase. It was not chase set, but it was they were cards that you could peel off stickers, and they usually had like some sort of stupid saying with them, And I did the same thing. I took my school books and everything and put them all around the inside and stuff because I was a dork then.
Oh, it's probably long before Trapper Keepers, but yeah, my day was Trapper.
Oh yeah,
Eric, you and
Brian's day was rock.
Yes, that's right. Trapper Keepers were considered science fiction in my
What was
day.
the other question, Clyde?
Well, the other question is for you, but everybody else too.
Okay.
You did the review for Moon Knight. I came across something in one of the reviews for the show that I thought was interesting. I didn't know. I didn't do any digging. I didn't have really time today to dig deeper. But if it's true, it's odd. So now we have a mature listing so that we can have the Netflix properties on Disney Plus. Okay, we got the Defenders titles, all of them. And you have to log in.
Not all of them.
Do they? What one do they not? Do they not
They
have the
didn't bring
Punisher?
over Iron Fist, I don't believe.
Oh, I thought it did. It has his picture
I
on
haven't
there.
heard
Or
that they did.
if they brought it over, they weren't advertising that. They left him out.
Right.
Oh, okay.
They
Okay.
might have brought him over, but there was a little bit of a
Quietly. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
Covert.
Okay. But, so you have to. I had to go in because the first time I logged in after they made the new setting, I was like, "Can you please set your maturity level?" Oh, okay. So I did.
I had that too. I was like, "What's going on here? Who stole my account?"
Yeah. So I did, and so that would seem to be problem solved. This is how we will, make it so that little kids don't necessarily see those shows. Okay. But then one person was pointing out today, and he wondered there's some blood in Moon Knight, the first episode, where he's fighting guys. He comes to, and they're laying there. They're in puddles of blood. He goes, will they do what they've been doing with their other shows? I'm like, what have they been doing? And he had clips behind him where they have gone back to shows that had shown blood. And it doesn't matter the maturity setting, they get rid of the blood. It's just people laying there unconscious.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys had heard anything about that or not.
No.
I don't know. Because again, that would make me not want to watch things like Punisher and Defenders and
Now, when they release it, it's got
Daredevil.
that. If you're watching it first run, or it's just dropped, it's there. It's after the fact, like a month or two later, they go back and they clean it up. It looks like get rid of that.
No, I didn't know.
I mean, I just can't picture myself watching Punisher or Luke Cage that way.
I don't know that it was those. These were all the ones that were like WandaVision and those Disney Plus shows.
Oh,
So-
they probably would do that since they're dealing with the new system. They probably would do that because they know where to edit and clean it up.
Was there a lot of blood in WandaVision?
No,
Not a whole lot, but there were some scenes in.
I know they did go back and redo the final scene. They
The what?
re-edited that to
right.
look different after like a month or two after it had been
Yeah.
released.
No, the one that he was pointing out and they had the pictures of was Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, rather. A lot of the
bludgeoning.
The blood, and the blood,
in the center of the square, and he was like pow pow,
they've gone through and cleaned some of that.
Was popping up, after he hit him so many times. I know they took that out.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I haven't gone back and watched it. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was just.
Which there should have been a lot more blood, I would think.
Right.
And a severed head rolling down the street.
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming he was hitting him in the neck.
Yeah, you would think so, but he was just wondering if they were going to do the same thing to Moon Knight. If
Well, I mean, it was the after effects of violence, so it wasn't like spraying blood or anything. I mean, because he held up his hand, there was blood on it. He was surprised. So the audience,
right?
You take that away. I mean, was he surprised at?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Good point.
I mean, at first I had to do a double take when he did come to when he was driving the van, and there's one guy in the back who's unconscious, and I thought that was a hole in his head, but it was where a cupcake had hit him.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God.
I thought the same thing. The second viewing, I was like, okay.
That guy threw some awful cupcakes to leave that pressure.
I thought it was his brains or something. I was like, oh wait, no, that's a cupcake van. It's full of cupcakes.
I just thought it was kind of a weird choice too. Is like you've aired it once, you now have a maturity setting that you could, if you felt like it was bad, you could do two versions. You could put one over there,
Yeah.
but they just seemed to.
Oh, you could, yeah.
So
I bet a lot of blood's digitally added anyway. So I mean, just take that.
Yeah. Well, I remember back in the day when like the major networks had like movies during the week.
Mhm.
You know, like the Tuesday night movie, the Wednesday night movie, that sort of thing, Sunday night at the movies. Generally, a lot of shows that were what would have been like R-rated at the time, they filmed two versions of
Yeah.
it. One was cleaned up for language and violence for TV, and then the other one was for the theater. So,
Mhm.
I
Or they
hate
would
watching
dub it.
Smokey and the
They would-
Bandit on TV.
Oh, yeah.
oh God, yes,
The Godfather, son of a buck, Godfather.
yeah.
What?
Yeah, you can tell the guy like recorded in a nice recording studio. About 6 months later, the
Yeah.
voices didn't match.
The birth of the term mother lover.
Yes, yes, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, now here's
Yeah, you know, most violence and blood and stuff is done digitally now on TV, even
Yeah.
TV movies and all that. And well, shoot, even okay. So recently you had the Alec Baldwin incident on the movie set where someone got justified. That entire series was, I mean, that came out it's been like 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
They use fake guns on set.
Mhm.
All those were fake guns, unless it was a close up they would have. But when they're shooting it, they were all prop gun, not even. They were plastic guns.
Non-functional.
And they did, yeah, and they digitally put in the fire effects and all that.
Wow.
And they didn't even shoot blanks. Yeah,
That's
Wow.
impressive.
Oh, man, wish they
pretty
still
soon they
did.
won't need actors because they're getting close.
Well, with what is it, the 3D technology, like they did
Oh
for-
yeah,
what was
the-
it,
the
Tupac
DOS
Shakur?
Studio, at the DOS Studio, if you get the right computer, and the right textures, you won't be able to tell.
Yeah.
I have seen some very photorealistic stuff out of DOS Studio.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. I gotta get back to that. Eric Bradley has favorite DC story. Can we do that real quick? I don't think I can.
Yeah, he said the magic two initials DC.
DC.
So that really limits me.
Oh, Nightfall.
There you go. I was thinking the man who has
Broken
everything.
back. He liked the broken back.
There you go.
I do like some DC stuff. I do like Dark Knight Returns. I do like Watchmen. What was that Watchmen series that came out? Doomsday Clock. I don't know. That was kind of iffy.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if I didn't have to wait 6 months to read an issue, and I remember what happened in the issue before that, maybe.
Yeah.
But still, I really enjoyed. I can't believe I'm going to say this. Jim Lee's run on Superman.
No.
That was all right.
Unchained, was that what it was?
Yeah.
And his run on Batman too. But
The Hush series, yeah.
yeah. But did I really enjoy it, or did I just like it because it's Jim Lee?
Yeah.
Probably because it was Jim Lee.
Yeah, because it's Jim Lee. It's like, oh,
Yeah, fan.
I'm all excited with the art. Oh, I'll go sit alone.
No, I think now that I think about it, I think my favorite at the moment, it'll change in 2 minutes. Camelot 3000.
That's interesting.
It's a fascinating series. Story by Mike W. Barr. Pencils throughout the whole thing. Different inkers, but by Brian Boland. And the idea is that aliens are invading the Earth, and King Arthur said he would return when England needed him. And so he does. And it was the first same-sex had two characters of the same gender that were in love. So it was a very progressive series. And, of course, it's Brian bleeping Boland.
Yeah.
Who can do no wrong. He was like the Jim Lee of his day. So except Jim Lee has never drawn Judge Dredd.
There's another story I know Brian hates. I actually love. It's The Killing Joke.
I like it up to the last page. And that last page just totally ruins it for me.
See, I guess I'm the oddball. I'm a fan of the story that brought Mark Waid to greatness where he can never reach it ever again. I'm a fan of the Kingdom series, the Kingdom Come.
Yeah, that was what I was going to hold up.
No argument.
That one really, really, I mean, just the in jokes alone, the stuff in the background, adds so much to it. But then the story and Captain Marvel's part is just so good.
Oh yeah.
It's just the whole idea of how it was set up through the eyes of Spectre and his how do you say the person who is his conscious looking at this just before he passed away, and the Spectre is going to be set free.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was just like the last thing, the last lesson that the Spectre had to learn while all of this stuff was going down. It was like,
it's lines like, "You mean to tell me you've been living in mortal fear of Billy Batson?"
Yeah. Yes.
So it's so it has a lot of layers, and of course the stakes have never been higher in a more personal way than a Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Right.
You know, it's just really good storytelling.
but Billy did the most boneheaded thing ever in that series, if I remember it correctly.
Yeah.
With the nuke.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that.
I'm like, whoa. It's like, Billy, it's not that drastic. Don't. He went and did it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like stopping Vanguard was in that scenario was not the right answer. You just made him more powerful.
That's right. Oh God, that was so good.
But again, for a person who can't be harmed, I can see why he did it, but it was just the most boneheaded thing. But it was written so good where it's just like, this is why he wasn't the figurehead for the world like Superman was. And this is why Superman had to come out of retirement to prevent things like this.
A runner-up, very close runner-up. Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, Part 1 and 2.
Yes. Awesome story.
That was the end of my era of Superman. You know, my upbringing of the Superman legend.
Yeah.
Very heartfelt goodbyes to some characters. A well-deserved retirement, and then on to new and exciting adventures. But most of the time, a series or an era doesn't get something written by Alan Moore to put the cherry on top of, to wind it all down and kind of have an ending. And I thought it was very classy, and he does some really interesting things with the different characters, like Lana Lang and Jimmy Olsen adopting their superpowered identities to defend Superman. You know, little things like that callbacks to the past storylines in a serious way. It's very good.
Yeah, and just little touches like when they get Pete Ross's body in the studios, and Superman is talking to who's a toy man and all, and he just asks them on the radio, "Do you know what radio waves look like?" And they're like, "No, why?" And just as he's smashing through their headquarters wall, saying, "Because I do."
Because I do. Yep. Yep.
And then the scene with Krypto attacking the Kryptonite Man.
Yep.
That made me tear up. That really did. That was just so awesome. So, and a great payoff at the end. Good choice. Good choice. Good choice all. So anyway, we've got a couple more comments here. I think Disney Plus put everything back, says Rick Bradley, at least with Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Okay.
Means they put Bucky's head back on. That's good. For the Falcons. Anyway, Emperor Joker is one of my favorites. That was a good. That was a very good choice, Rick.
Oh well, I don't consider that a complete story, but King Superman. That makes me laugh every time I read that saga, King Superman.
Yeah, that was fun. I liked Emperor Joker. I liked that. That was good too. And Camelot 3000 was awesome. That is one that DC needs to. It ought to be up there with Watchmen and Dark Knight Returns. They need to keep that in print forever.
Remember the scene?
Predator.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Remember the scene in that where Arthur has to go to the pool of water to have Nimue bring him back the sword?
Right. Yes.
Well, it's the future, so that pool is now part of a cooling tower for a nuclear power plant.
Yes.
And to see, King Arthur there calling forth Excalibur in the middle of all that tech is like, that was moments like that for that series were just so good. And then Boland's artwork to bring it to life. Oh yeah.
And the only bad part was waiting a year to get that 12th issue.
That was bad. That
was
hurt it.
rough.
That still hurt it. Even now.
Yeah. Eric's feet must hurt. I hear his dogs are barking. So anyway, thank you, Rick. Those were great questions. Appreciate it very much. And we are nearing the 3-hour mark. Like we've had fun or something. I know.
No, that's a good yay because we didn't really go too far off the rails because we didn't have a certain person here in their Alvy suit talking about Mike Mignola.
See, I don't know because Clyde and I were on the Dashly Dingoes Tuesday night. We didn't go off the rails at all.
No,
I was starting to think it was Brian.
It's very likely it could be. Well, it's not like
at least we know it is a Brian.
That's true. That's true. And it's not like I ever go off the rails on. It's not like I go off the rails on. Never mind the furthermore. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m., 9 a.m. Eastern on the Rising Tide Broadcasting Network. See, I don't do that. Never do that. So, but anyway, while we can still see the rails, I think we should sign off. Leave them wanting more. So anyway, we will go in the opposite direction this time. Let's start with Clyde, then Eric, and then Joe, and we'll finish this episode off. So tell everyone how, and I will put up the links to the projects. Okay, so you guys can be in your full glory, if you will. So anyway, let's start with Clyde. Clyde, tell everyone how they can keep up with you. Okay.
Well, they can follow me like a social media Pied Piper on Facebook at Clyde Hall or Radiating Positive Vibes with author Clyde Hall, and on Twitter at CJ Hall 1984. I'm doing weekly comic reviews at comicsbookcase.com. Every new comic book day, we have reviews, interviews, and all things comic news for you there. I have features and reviews up at the comics info site doomrocket.com as well. And they have a very fine podcast called Casual Wednesdays that you should check out if you have not already done so. And I'm a contributing writer at Stormgate Press with work appearing in their new pulp anthology series, Pulp Reality 1, 2, and 3, and they're all available on Amazon. But you should go to www.stormgatepress.com and see the full variety of publications that we have there. Also, tomorrow, we will have a cover reveal for my and Brian Morris's latest Stormgate project, which is Major Marjorie. It's a throwback. It's a new pulp and nostalgic throwback to science fiction. And some of you can't help but think of some of the covers of all of the great science fiction pulp magazines when you see Major Marjorie. She's not just a pretty face, though. She is a daring adventurer who fights aliens on the radio and in real life. You can also catch me here on Thursday nights for continuing editions of Comic Book Spectrum.
And we couldn't be happier about that. Thank you very much, Clyde. And now here's Eric S. Pro Slayer Hawkins.
Watch Moon Knight. Every Thursday night you could find me here at 6 p.m. Central. And in 5 minutes, you can find me on Chester C. Busby's channel, which I will be, as we go off into the credit land, I'll be disappearing to hop over there, guys. So if you don't see me when you come back, I'll be gone. But hey, Zombie World of Oz 4 launches next week on Friday at 9 a.m. Central Standard. I have a variety of levels to pick from, all the way from digital to physical to catch up to hardback to softback to original cover art that I did. I did one of the variant covers traditionally, so it was penciled and inked, and it is on 11x17 Bristol board with my borders on there with the Stone Door logo on it. I think it's only, I don't know if I'm going to offer any more original art. Sometimes I did. Last campaign I offered the original character designs. Those went really well, but I haven't pulled. Well, actually, I can't sell those again because they're gone. But I do have other character designs to throw in. I don't know if I'm going to pull them out or not. I kind of like those. So I might want to keep them. But I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. There's beanies, there's stickers, there's magnets, junk. I have all the stretch goals ready to go if I get lucky enough to get to the stretch goal level, which fingers crossed. That's it. Go check out my Kickstarter and be there next Friday morning when we launch. And you can find me on any social media. Just look for my name. You'll find me. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric.
And goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye. Bye, Eric. And good luck tonight.
Thank you. I won last week, but they didn't have the pro show, so it didn't matter. He hasn't had the pro show in weeks.
Oh, Mr. Rolling Man is in the house.
Oh,
I
just
didn't
in
know
time
he
for
was
us to go.
watching.
Yeah, just in time. So thank you, Eric.
Oh, thank you.
Bye-bye, man.
Bye.
And there's the top of Joe D. McFee's head. Joe, how can people follow the top of your head and you?
I don't have my link tree on this particular one, but you can follow me out there on Linktree. The reason why my head is down is because I was completing my accountability sketch for today.
Good man.
This was something that Daphne Lage and Nina Lanning was always talking about, always doing the work and everything. And a lot of times people think I don't draw, but I do. And this is a quick little sketch of a character by the name of Glacier. Her actual real name is Felicia Knight. And the backstory on her is that she would have been the main character if I would have used her instead of Elisa Masters in the story that I'm currently doing right now. But that's going back into like the history and stuff that I kind of sort of talk about on my channel here from the Deso Small Press Publisher, where this week we will have Pops Van Zandt here talking about Enter the Cromnyverse this weekend, this Saturday at 9 o'clock Central Standard Time, 10 o'clock Eastern. And it's going to be a good time here. And the Kickstarter for issue number 1 through 7 of Amazonia will be live coming in May. You could sign up for it at whatever link that was going to be in the, well, it's actually in the chat. You're probably going to get, yeah, there it is. Go there. I'm trying to get as many people to sign up to be notified as of right now to kind of help my statistics here for the crowdfunding campaign, because I really want to knock this one out of the box here. I want to get well beyond just the printing costs here for the books and everything. So if you can, go ahead, sign up for everything. If you caught the show earlier, I showed a couple of sketch covers and stuff that are planning to do here. It's like examples of what you could get for a sketch cover, which is like the $200 tier, where you would get everything, all seven standard issues, plus the variants of issue number 7, plus a one-of-one sketch cover for me, and is only limited to 5 people. And we do have other tiers, and like I said, the investment for those who have been in the series for this point, for just only issue number 7, would be $8 physical and $3 digital. So it's not going to be that much of an investment like other people here. So if you can, take a moment to sign up. And catches me on Saturday at 9 o'clock Central Standard Time, 10 o'clock Eastern, right here on YouTube from the Deso Small Press Publisher. And with that being said, we're going to toss it over to Brian for the final thoughts of the day.
All right. Thank you very much, Joe. Thank you for being here. Love you, man. And thank you all for being here. And let's see, I'm going to mute those guys so they can make a lot of noise. And then we have comments. Let's get to the comments. We've got a few more. We have Ted Davies Artistry. Thank you very much, Ted. Thank you very much. And we look forward to you and Chris returning to Drink of the Davies tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central. And we are missing you too, Cindy Kemp, CKOEPP.com. Sign up for her free newsletter and check out her website and buy her books. Thank you, Cindy. We'll see you tomorrow morning. And you're right, Roland Mann is here. Original art is always good. Roland, it is a pleasure to see you, sir. And yes, just in time, you made it. It's a pleasure to have you here, Roland. And good. I think you've got a Kickstarter. Please leave a link if you can in the comments, and because this will stay up forever. And thanks for hosting an adventure. Thank you for being a part of it, Cindy. Thank you so much. Love you. And with that, we are going to take our leave. I'm Brian K. Morris, and if you want to keep tabs on me, go here, risingtide.pub. You'll also find a link to like past episodes of Comic Book Spectrum, Clever Title Pending, and our 3 times a week show, Never mind the Furthermore, which will have a fresh episode live tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. And let's see what else. And I mentioned Patreon. Thank you to our Patreon subscribers who help keep this show on the air. And if you want to see all that we offer in exchange for your monthly financial support, go to www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris for more details. And we are this show and Joe's and a whole bunch of others, as you can see, are part of the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. We have 7 days a week of entertainment and illumination. So check us out. Stupid O'Clock is running right now, even as we speak. So check that out, followed by Dan Hollifield's Last Man Standing. Great geeky talk. You'll be glad you showed up. And please give our Facebook page a like. And also, if you've liked any part of this, please ring that bell on Facebook. Subscribe to the channel so you'll be notified of all of our content coming up all the time. And also, you can also get notified on Facebook too. So make sure you do that as well. And please give this a like or a love or a thumbs up, whatever you have. And this broadcast has been brought to you by the Rising Tide publications, and we've got a brand new book, the Terrors, that should be out sometime later this month. We're shooting for July, so please check that out. And also a lot of great surprises this year, so go to Rising Tide, sign up for our free monthly newsletter. The next one goes out tomorrow at 5:15, so check it out. All right, risingtide.pub. And we're also brought to you by Plasma Fire Graphics. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. And if you like what Jeffrey Hayes does with Plasma Fire Graphics, check out tomorrow's reveal of the Major Marjorie paperback on author Charles F. Millhouse's Presents page. You'll be glad you did. I'll be glad you did too. But anyway, it's going to be glorious because it's by Plasma Fire Graphics. Check out their Facebook page and then go to plasmafiregraphics.com and inquire about Jeffrey's indie creator friendly pricing. You'll be glad you did. That's Plasma Fire Graphics when the look of your book matters to you, because it definitely matters to your readers. And with that, we will bid you a cheese fondue. Thank you so much for being here. We love having you here. Thank you for your questions, your feedback, and we hope you will join. And we have one more comment. And everyone take care and stay creative. Rick Bradley, I will see you in Benton, Illinois. In fact, we will be in Benton on Saturday, April 2nd, at the Benton, Illinois Civic Center, and that's at their signs lead you right to the front door, and we'll be there. Rick will be there. Kathy Jackson, Jackie Nelson, Amy Hill will be wandering around. We've got all kinds of really cool people, a lot of the Nevermorians and Rising Tidesters, and we hope you'll be there as well. We've got some new books that you have not seen before, and you'll be glad to own them. Trust me. So anyway, please show up for that, and that's from 10 till 5 o'clock, I believe. So anyway, please come see us in Benton, Illinois at the SI Comic Con. Check out the Facebook event page for more information. And with that, let's get back to where we need to be to get this show ended up. And as always, folks, thank you for being here again, as I said, and we will see you next Thursday for a brand new, fresh live episode of Comic Book Spectrum. And as always, folks, stay smart, stay safe, wash your hands, and never apologize for being awesome. Have a great Thursday, everyone, and we'll see you next week on Comic Book Spectrum.
Welcome to Comic Book Spectrum, a rising tide. Thank you for watching Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Please join us next week for another look at comics, past, present, and future. If you enjoyed this, please give the show a like and be sure to subscribe and share it with your friends. To receive our free monthly newsletter, go to www.risingtide.pub and be sure to give the Rising Tide Broadcast Network page on Facebook a like in order to receive news about upcoming shows including Clever Title Pending, Stupid O'Clock, Clever as Hail, Comics Chaos and Sass, Tidbits and Scribbles, the Historical Fencing Guild, and never mind the Furthermore. See you next week.
How dare you!